Underground palace, there is an array. An extremely intricate and complex array. Inside the array, there is a person sitting cross-legged. This person has long hair cascading over their shoulders, sitting with their head lowered. What's most shocking is the ground beneath. 7 sharp nails pierce through his flesh, his 2 thighs, his arms, and there's even one nail that rises from the ground, running through his entire body, protruding out from the top of his head. These nails cast from bronze. A dim, eerie bronze patina. If the bronze nails weren't artificially aged, they would indeed be artifacts thousands of years old. What surprised Lin Zaiyasu even more was the straw in this person's hair. This straw, the energy emanates through the great array, and it's unmistakably the very same straw he is most familiar with, the straw Mad Taoist uses to pierce into the Mao Ren. The straw transformed into the heavenly burning spear, descending from the void. 13 enlightenment of God and even enlightenment rules masters were obliterated. Among them, one straw, oh no, the heavenly burning spear, drilled 100 meters deep underground, piercing the forehead of the person in the array. However, the spear shattered directly. The person was unharmed. How terrifying is the cultivation of this person. Fortunately, at this moment, he is within the great array. Fortunately, his entire body is penetrated by bronze nails. This is also likely the key reason why Mad Taoist, knowing this person's cultivation is peerless, still remains easily composed. Mad Taoist gently raised a hand, forming a barrier of sound. His gaze shifted over. Kid, since this piece of folded space is open, the passage to the ancient wilderness has already been formed and cannot be closed. People within will emerge in endless streams. Is that right? Yes. You need a super expert to guard this place. Lin Zaiasu's heart was pounding. Is he the helper you found for me? Yes. But I observe this person may not be so easy to speak with. No worries, first have him swear allegiance, then rescue him from the array. Swear, Lin Zaiasu said. An oath is a shackle for a gentleman, but in the cultivation path seems like there aren't many gentlemen. No worries. A wisp of voice from Mad Taoist penetrated Lin Zaiasu's sea of consciousness, softly exploding. Swish. Mad Taoist waved his hand, the soundproof barrier thus opened. Mad Taoist and Lin Zaiyasu walked side by side toward the array platform ahead. This array platform octagonal. The ground is covered with ancient tiles, unknown what material they're made of. The patterns on it are extremely profound. Unseen by the sunlight for many years, damp and dark. Now the sky above was directly lifted off by Mad Taoist, and on the silent stone slab came the sound of human footsteps. Click, click, click. The person in the array slowly opened their eyes. These eyes, Lin Zaiyasu could see clearly through his willow-like drooping messy hair. What kind of eyes are these? Carrying endless eeriness. Bearing the vicissitudes of time. Senior, how long have you been here? Lin Zaiasu's voice was very gentle. The person in the array slowly lifted his head, slowly lifting. He saw the sky above, full of sunlight. These eyes suddenly had vitality. Who are you? 3 words very awkwardly spoken. The one who destroyed Heiyuan sect, and also the one who can rescue you, Senior, Lin Zaiyasu said. The person's brows in the array sharply knitted together. You can rescue me. Yes. Do you know what this array is? What exactly is the array? The last 4 words clearly a temporary change. He probably originally intended to directly say the name of the array, but temporarily changed it, turning it into a question. This is also a test. If one doesn't even know the name of the array, then there's no hope to be had. Lin Zaiyasu smiled. All heaven-trapping array, merging the whimsicality of the heavenly element, constructing 6 stars with the boundless heaven, forming the incomplete celestial pattern. The person's eyes in the array shone brightly. 6 stars constructed with boundless heaven, not 7 stars. Mad Taoist's brows were also furrowed. There are 7 bronze nails on the ground. If it were an array, it should be 7 stars. The array path emphasizes 3, 7, 9. When was there ever 6? Senior still hasn't understood my words. If these 7 nails were 7 stars, it would be complete. Then it wouldn't be called incomplete celestial pattern. Has Senior for so many years always regarded these 7 nails as 7 stars to unlock, feeling more and more discrepancies as you unlock? The person in the array had his eyes firmly locked on Lin Zaiyasu. At this moment, he truly began to take the young man before him seriously. Where is the 7th star? I of course know where it is, Lin Zaiyasu said, But why should I tell Senior? What benefit can Senior give me? What kind of benefit do you want? I want you to make a heavenly Tao oath that after coming out, you will guard this place, face the ancient crossing, and fully intercept, ensuring that not a single person from the great Zia realm behind is harmed. The person in the array slowly said, "You are someone of the great Zia realm." "Yes." The person in the array slowly looked up, gazing at the sky. His face was filled with turmoil and indecision, seemingly making the most difficult decision. Finally, he said, "All right." Linzai Asu made a gesture, and a piece of white paper appeared in his palm. With a few strokes wrote a line, and with a flick, this white paper passed through the array barrier, appearing before the person in the array. The person in the array truly had his eyes filled with boundless radiance. Linzai Asu had shown two techniques in total. The first was his insight into the array path. His analysis and judgment of the array path completely aligned with the person in the array's own conclusions. No matter how unreasonable it was to trust such a young lad, he believed at least half. And now, with a light wave from Linzai Asu, a fragile piece of white paper effortlessly crossed the array barrier, appearing intact before him. This was a true demonstration of the array technique. One must know that ordinary weapons crossing the array path will also be torn apart. Even with the divine skills of the mad Taoist, his heavenly burning spear lost 30% of its force when crossing the array barrier. The person within the array glanced at the contents of the white paper, which were identical to what Linzai Asu had just said. He flicked his finger, and a drop of blood appeared at his fingertip, signing his name. Qi Yue. The name Qi Yue appeared on this piece of white paper, and a smile broke out on Linzai Asu's face. "Since the senior has already agreed, I will break the array to welcome you out. This pattern is the 7th star you've racked your brains over without result. No wonder you couldn't find it, because this 7th star is outside the array." He raised his hand and pointed a finger at a pattern on the edge of the array. A faint light shone on the pattern. The outer array base radiated light, and with a cracking sound it shattered. The 7 nails beneath the person in the array also simultaneously circulated with light. A puffing sound, as if breaking through a barrier. Whiz! The 7 bronze nails simultaneously shattered. Qi Yue's whole body shook, seemingly like a fierce beast awakening from years of slumber. He cast his gaze towards Linzai Asu, filled with endless excitement. "The outer array path is the all-heaven trapping array. Do you have a way to break it? The circulation array is the pinnacle of array paths. If the outer array cannot be broken, it would all be in vain." Linzai Asu laughed. "If it were a complete all-heaven trapping array, I might not be able to break it, but alas, in this world of array path, too often people like to be clever, adding superfluous touches. This all-heaven trapping array merged with the heavenly 7 stars seems profoundly endless, but it destroys the integrity of the all-heaven trapping array." He raised his hand and pointed a finger at an array base in the northwest corner. The array path's light suddenly transformed, as if showing the myriad phenomena of the heavens in an instant. Bang! 8 array bases simultaneously developed cracks. With a gentle rumbling sound, as if a long river flowed through, the aura of the array path completely dissipated. The person in the array stood upright, hair flying, laughing loudly. "Ha ha ha, Li Qianzong, I'm finally free, a full 3,000 years. By Chuanwang, I will wipe out your entire clan." His arrogant and domineering laughter shook the entire mountains and rivers. Within the Heiyuan ruins, it was as if another earth-shattering wave had arrived. Linzai Asu was stunned. "Aren't you called Qi Yue?" "Haha," Li Qianzong laughed wildly. "This place is flawed in heaven and earth. Even if I signed my real name, I would not fear the heavenly Tao oath. However, when it comes to matters related to the heavenly Tao oath, it's better to be cautious, so I did not sign my real name. Consider this as my return for your favor, letting you know how treacherous Jianghu is." Puff! The piece of white paper with the signed name turned to dust in his hand. Linzai Asu said, "You mean to say you don't plan to keep the agreement just now?" "Such a naive and childish kid." Li Qianzong stepped forward. "You will surely be tortured if you tread the Jianghu path later. Better if I crush you now, lest you later seek life but cannot seek death." A palm reached down. For people like him, who cares who he kills? Even friends are killed for fun when the mood strikes. Would he care about a young man he just met? However, when his palm was still 3 inches away from Linzai Asu's forehead, his spirit platform was suddenly shocked, as if some immense terror enveloped his whole body. With a whoosh, he retrieved his palm abruptly. This withdrawal immediately cleared the spirit platform. The smile on Li Qianzong's face completely froze at that moment. Li Qianzong, is it? Mad Taoist slowly stepped out. The agreement you signed just now is not a mere agreement, it's a cause and effect chain. Li Qianzong's whole body trembled. Cause and effect chain. In the cause and effect chain, there's no name, only cause and effect facts, so don't say changing your name to Qi Yue. Even if you changed it to a dog, the cause and effect would still fall on your head. Mad Taoist raised his hand, picking his teeth with a straw in the gap, getting closer. Moreover, you are correct about one thing, this place is flawed in heaven and earth. Even the heavenly Tao oath, heaven may not perceive, but cause and effect is different. The more flawed the heaven and earth, the clearer cause and effect become, all because they stem from the flaws of the heavenly Tao. Li Qianzong's forehead was drenched in cold sweat. For ordinary people, Mad Taoist's discourse on cause and effect might make no sense, and even if understood, it might not be believed. Yet the more advanced one is on the cultivation path, the more one grasps the mysterious terror of cause and effect. This kid is still wet behind the ears. To think the law of cause and effect could truly bind me. Li Qianzong's voice was icy, with sharp eyes like the deepest demon in hell. This is precisely where you are mistaken, Mad Taoist said. The strongest aspect of the law of cause and effect lies in this. He simply needs to integrate the cause and effect into the chain. You are not fighting against him, but against the heavenly Tao cause and effect disc. If he dies, then the chain is void. Li Qianzong enunciated each word. You're right on that. You can hope he dies soon, but you cannot kill him yourself, nor can you arrange others to kill him, Mad Taoist said leisurely. Li Qianzong's gaze slowly fell on Lin Ziasu's face. Kid, give me a straight answer, when will you die? Lin Ziasu rolled his eyes. Seems like the agreement is missing a clause, I should add, must show some respect to me. Li Qianzong said, all right, please tell me, when will you die? He added the word please to signify respect. Lin Ziasu said, my death should be put aside for now, focus on the agreement, but if there's an ancient crossing, strike with all your strength. Mad Taoist flicked the straw toothpick. What the kid said is right. Brother Li, enemies cross the border, go do it, for your own head, for your cause and effect. Boom! Li Qianzong soared into the sky, accompanied by earth-shattering words. To hell with your cause and effect, I curse the ancestors of the heavenly Tao for 18 generations. Mad Taoist lifted his hand, grabbing Lin Ziasu as he ascended to the sky. At the northwest horizon, a group of Enlightenment Realm beings crossed the border. Suddenly, a figure swept across the sky, a Dharma body spanning 1,000 feet over the land, unmistakably Li Qianzong. His massive claw extended, more than a dozen Enlightenment Realms fell into his palm, squeezing lightly. A dozen Dharma bodies crumbled, all in shock. Do you even understand what cause and effect is? Li Qianzong shouted sternly. Senior, we juniors haven't offended you. Those Enlightenment Realms in his grasp were all confused. I don't even know you, discussing what cause and effect with me. Killing you is cause and effect. Bang! With just one squeeze, over 10 Enlightenment Realms became a mist of blood. With a wave of his hand, this mist of blood swirled in front of Lin Ziasu, forming an enormous ancient text. Scram! Lin Ziasu's teeth tingled a bit. What did I get myself into, such aggression? Chapter 597. Chapter 596. Experts guard the border, sect residences established. The Mad Taoist cast his gaze to the sky. It seems that this heavenly Tao is truly incomplete. Li Dapo pointed at the nose of heavenly Tao, cursing its ancestors for 18 generations, and yet the heavenly Tao did not hear. Venerable Wu Liangshu, this is really not a good sign. Li Qianzong looked at the sky and shrank his neck. Just a moment ago, in a fit of anger, he feared nothing, but now, thinking back, he seemed a bit apprehensive. Lin Ziasu laughed heartily. Senior Li, remember the contents of the treaty clearly, strike with all your might. If you let anyone cross the border, then you violate the words with all your might, and you will still suffer the consequences. Scram! Li Qianzong exhaled forcefully, a wave of air like a tide blowing the Mad Taoist and Lin Ziasu hundreds of miles away. In the blink of an eye, the two returned to the original battlefield. The battlefield had already been cleaned up. The corpses had been dealt with, lessening the intensity of the battlefield's carnage somewhat. Hua Maioi held Feng Jia's hand, and behind her were the 9 masters of the Enlightenment realm. Seeing the mad Taoist descend from the sky, everyone bowed in unison. Senior. This was the etiquette of the cultivation path. But the mad Taoist looked like he was beyond help, simply waving his hand and going to one side. He ceded the main position to Lin Ziasu. Lin Ziasu spoke. All the seniors of Kun Kang before I left Kun Kang, I promised you that upon leaving, I'd fight to the death. The Hidden Dragon Society will provide recompense. This folded space is rich in qi and offers some benefits to cultivators. If you are willing to establish a sect here, feel free to choose your own spot. The fierce beast primordial crystals obtained in this battle, the weapons and supplies on the enemies, the residual manuals and resources from the Heiyuan sect, apart from a small amount retained for hidden dragon research. The rest can be allocated by fellow cultivators of Kun Kang as you see fit. The 9 giants behind Hua Maioi's hearts collectively raced. As giants on the cultivation path, they naturally knew how valuable the items he casually mentioned were. The primordial crystals of Silver Mountain Bay, rich in qi, useful for cultivation, and the equipment and resources from disciples of a super sect like the Heiyuan sect far exceeded those of Kun Kang, let alone the sect's foundations. Even if struck by a nuclear bomb, not much could be expected above ground, but there were always some remnants. The foundations left by a super sect are something no one would want to abandon. In this battle, Lin Ziasu was undoubtedly the leader. His role on the battlefield was the greatest. Without him, none of them would even have their lives. So, if distributed according to Jianghu rules, based on merit, the most essential things should naturally belong to him. However, this young man is truly magnanimous. Apart from leaving some things for hidden dragon research, everything else is given to them. Yet everyone thought of a problem. This young man's generosity, giving them almost everything and allowing them to establish a sect here, could he have another intention, wanting them to stay here forever, guarding this portal? Generally, people wouldn't say what they thought, but Li Changjiang, being straightforward, directly said, "Young Master Lin, are you intending for us to permanently reside here and guard this portal?" "I indeed have this intention," Lin Ziasu said. "Besides you, on the other side of the Hao Yuan ruins, there are also people guarding." Hua Maioi's heart jumped fiercely, and senior guardians. "Yes. On behalf of Shenghua Valley, I will establish a mountain gate here, named Shenghua Villa." Hua Maioi smiled slightly. "I would like to as well." "Me too. The heaven and earth essence here is 100 times richer than Kun Kang, and having such an opportunity, naturally one should establish a sect here." In an instant, everyone agreed. There was no dissent. Why? Just because of Lin Ziasu's last sentence, that on the other side of the Hao Yuan ruins, another master is guarding. Who is the master? It is naturally the old Taoist before them. This old Taoist is clearly at the pinnacle of the Enlightenment realm, possibly even higher. With him guarding, there's no worry for this folded space. Everyone was concerned about the intrusion from the desolate ancient realm. With merely these 13 sects, they couldn't hold it and would be throwing their lives away. But with this powerful Taoist, killing those in the enlightenment of God and enlightenment rules is as simple as slaughtering chickens. So why fear anything? No one thought that the guardian Lin Ziasu referred to was not the mad Taoist. It's simply because the mad Taoist's combat power is limited. He can only strike at most 2 more times, just 2 waves of enemies coming and he's done. "Feng Jai, say goodbye to him. Sister is going to find you a place for closed-door cultivation." Hua Maioi pushed Feng Jai lightly towards Lin Ziasu, then moved to a peak on the left. There, she chose the main peak of Shenghua Villa. The other sect leaders also began to find places they liked. Lin Ziasu walked towards Feng Jai. At this moment, Feng Jai wore her ghost mask again. Her eyes were filled with boundless joy. Lin Ziasu reached out gently, grasping her hand. Feng Jai held his hand back, a bit lightly but very firmly. "Senior sister, shall we walk?" The two strolled up the adjacent hillside, where ancient trees were densely packed, obstructing their surroundings. It was before dawn in the distant east, a streak of bright white was forming. But the initial sunlight had yet to pierce this stretch of sky and earth. Lin Ziasu gently pulled, drawing Feng Jai into his embrace, holding her tightly, very tightly. Feng Jai's tears almost came out. She could feel Lin Ziasu's passion. This was a passion lost and found. In truth, not only did he lose and find it again. She was the same. The moment she forcibly opened the reincarnation sect, she thought the next time she would see him would be in the next reincarnation. Who knew the wheel of destiny had changed, and she didn't die. He was still the husband she could embrace. Senior sister, don't be like this in the future, Lin Zaiasu said softly. Him? Lin Zaiasu cupped her face and gently removed her ghost mask. Feng Jai's hand suddenly lifted up, grabbing the ghost mask to prevent him from taking it off. I have already seen your face, a real beauty. Then you just remember that face in your heart. Feng Jai was anxious. That face was her face after the reincarnation seal left. Without the reincarnation seal, although she didn't know what she looked like herself, it must be much better looking than with the reincarnation seal. She hoped her husband would only remember the best version of her appearance. She dared not present the current reincarnation seal restored look to him. But what if I want to kiss you? Lin Zaiasu said. You little rascal, so annoying. Come. Feng Jai took off half of her ghost mask, letting her lips meet his, gently teasing and softly rubbing. Throughout the process, her ghost mask always covered Lin Zaiasu's face. The basic principle was, if you want to kiss, I let you. If you want to go deeper, I let you, but I won't let you see my face. Of course, deeper connections are definitely not appropriate today. 3 places in the folded space broke the realm. Lin Zaiasu needed to leave this space immediately to obtain the first-hand information in a signal-receiving area outside. And Feng Jai urgently needed to meditate. So within just 10 minutes, Feng Jai put on her ghost mask again and went to meet Hua Maioi. Lin Zaiasu went down the slope, and beneath the night there were 2 more people. Dawa and Saintess Qian Ling. Saintess Qian Ling lightly smiled. You're leaving, aren't you? Yes, you. The atmosphere of this heaven and earth full of essence is very suitable for my recovery. I'll temporarily settle here, Saintess Qian Ling said. Dawa has a very crazy idea. I'm a bit unsure whether to persuade her or encourage her. You make a decision. Oh? A crazy idea. What is it? Lin Zaiasu looked towards Dawa. Dawa said, Brother, I want to go to the Hao Yuan ruins over there. Lin Zaiasu's heart jumped sharply. You want to use nuclear radiation to practice cultivation? Partly yes, but not entirely, Dawa said. The place used to be full of life, but now it's dead and gloomy. It should be the best place for feelings about life and death. But the concentration of nuclear radiation there is unusual. Don't rush to go there first. I'll make an arrangement with number 8 and have him send a group of robots there first to gather some data before making a decision. No need, Dawa lightly smiled. Brother said that Dawa is the moon. No matter where I am, this moon will always shine, I promise you. Then delve slowly, don't be too hasty, Lin Zaiasu said. I'll listen to brother, Dawa lightly smiled, turning into light smoke heading northwest. Lin Zaiasu raised his gaze, looking at her back. Maybe you don't need to worry too much. She cultivates the death rules, and the more death-prone the place, the more she can thrive, Saintess Qian Ling said. All right, I need to go now. Let me walk you out, Saintess Qian Ling said. They crossed last night's fierce battlefield, seemingly returning from the illusionary world to the real world. In front was Liu Lin Temple, familiar scenery. However, behind were vast mountains, entirely unfamiliar scenery. Lin Zaiasu gently sighed. My hometown has changed like this. It may take a long time for the townsfolk to adapt, from a small 8-line county to suddenly expanding tens of thousands of square kilometers. This is just one folded space. Once all folded spaces are completely opened, once the space inside the folded space gradually releases, the whole Earth might really expand tenfold, hundredfold, Saintess Qian Ling said. From now on, the change of the world, each step might be unrecognizable to us. Saintess Qian Ling stepped onto the hillside, slowly turning back. No matter what, the promises made that day still count. No matter how many thousands of miles, you and I are ultimately fellow travelers. We've already shared the snow today. We might as well grow old together in this life. Lin Zaiasu lightly smiled. Saintess Qian Ling smiled sweetly. I was really worried you'd lose your true self after experiencing the fierce battle, but now I see I was worrying too much. You are still quite the charming one. Off I go. Saintess Qian Ling lightly tapped her feet, returning through the grass. As she passed by Lin Zaiasu closely, a thread of voice reached his ear. Don't look back at me. There's a little girl hiding over there, and I feel like she's looking to settle scores with you. Lin Zaiasu raised his gaze and saw the shadow behind the tree. Yes, The light from Liu Lin Temple cast a shadow. A few steps forward, he saw Huya. Huya clasped her arms around her chest, a face evidently ready for a reckoning. Chapter 598, Chapter 597, Fewer Women, More Elders. But she laughed heartily. Hey buddy, what's up with that Feng Jai, calling you husband in public, huh? Well, she's from Kun Kang, where the terms are a bit different from what's shown in TV dramas. The word husband usually needs to be broken down. Xiang, meaning nobility, and Gong, meaning a ranking official, together form husband, which is a respectful term for adult men. Yeah, respectful. Is that so? Huya was a bit confused. Let's not talk about this, Lin Ziasu said. Any news from the other two places? As the orthodox words came out, Huya immediately responded. When I came over just now, number 8 was urgently repairing the communications. Go check it out. Repairing communications actually meant adjusting frequencies. Space changed, magnetic fields were altered, and wavelength frequencies were in chaos. All communications were also abnormal. But after a night's adjustment, it should be almost done. Lin Ziasu and Huya arrived at the platform of Liu Lin Temple. Number 8 saluted. Chief Commander, civilian communications have not yet been restored, but the special band can now connect. There's news from southern border of the South Sea. Speak. Over at South Sea, 23 nuclear bombs were deployed, blasting the encroaching Qi Jiao and Li Wan into oblivion. The situation is basically under control, but the southern border's situation is quite strange. How strange? Lin Ziasu asked. Originally, our line of defense was about to be breached by the enemy. Suddenly, a snow-white turtle altered the energy flow of that area, making that land no longer suitable for Enlightenment realm, converting the high-altitude battle between immortals into a ground assault. King Lanchin and a little cat were invincible in that area, slashing through over 100 Enlightenment realm enemies, forcing several thousand back. Lin Ziasu's eyes lit up. Snow Turtle Aojai activated. Chief Commander, you know. That turtle is called Snow Turtle. The people on the cultivation path say it's a snowfield holy turtle. Its strongest guardian way is the guardian divine domain, equality for all beings. It means pulling everyone's cultivation to the same platform, and that little cat can transform into a Tenjang giant cat, incredibly fierce, even leaping up to hunt down a giant of the Enlightenment realm, above Enlightenment realm combat strength. In this domain of equality at present, no one should be able to go beyond. Great, absolutely great news, Lin Ziasu praised thrice. Suddenly his brow furrowed. Show me the South Sea battle report. Yes. Number 8 placed a hand on the edge of Dragon Eye. The South Sea battle report appeared in the void. Qi Jiao vaporized under the nuclear bombs. The exotic ancient bird Li Wan vaporized within the nuclear bomb. Occasional breaches were cleared by arrays and Kun Kang experts. For the mortal world, this battle was like a sci-fi blockbuster, extremely intense. But it must also be admitted, compared to their experiences last night, this battle seemed not particularly difficult. They used 23 nuclear bombs. They are really willing, huh, little Sue? I think we were too conservative last night. If we had been like them and used nuclear bombs from the start, dropping dozens, the battle would have been much easier, Huya said. Number 49 is wrong, Number 8 said. The use of nuclear bombs has its scenarios. For instance, on this island where there are only exotic beasts, nuclear bombs can easily complete the sweep. But if there's a sect, it's a different scene altogether. We also saw firsthand, sect experts, nuclear bombs cannot kill them. That's true, Huya gazed at Lin Ziasu, suddenly slightly startled. What's wrong? At this moment, Lin Ziasu's face was very serious. The situation is not good, Lin Ziasu said. Immediately communicate with South Sea Command, be wary of any sect there. Sect, that can't be right, Number 8 said. If there was a sect, wouldn't they have appeared earlier? Qi Jiao and Li Wan. These two exotic beasts can interbreed. Once interbred, they produce a new species called four-winged blood flood dragon. Four-winged blood flood dragon is one of the best mounts in desolate ancient realm, Lin Ziasu said. In natural conditions, Qi Jiao and Li Wan have their territories. They rarely appear in the same area, so having so many Qi Jiao and Li Wan in one place was already abnormal. The only explanation is they are sect-raised, breeding mounts for the sect. Number 8 was startled. I'll notify immediately. Went into the Taoist temple, activated the special communication channel. Lin Ziasu said, Huya, you should station here. Okay, and you? I've got to go to the South Sea. I'll go with you. No, you should stay here and organize people to calm the villagers. Explaining this sudden emergence of such a large forest is not feasible through cinema. Come dawn, all the villagers will be in chaos. Lin Zaiasu said, "Don't worry about me, I'll find someone to accompany me." Huya said, "For me to be at ease unless the person you find is that old Taoist." Lin Zaiasu glanced around, there was no one. "Darling Yuya, you guessed it right." Ah, Huya bounced up, hung onto his neck, spun around. "You're too amazing, you really won him over. That's definitely 100 times more valuable than winning over Feng Jai. Remember from now on, less winning over women, more winning over elders." "All right. Smooch." Huya kissed him. It's wartime now, emotions in check. Lin Zaiasu felt her bodily enthusiasm. "I'm already very restrained." Huya twisted in his arms, leaning towards his ear. "This entire forest is now connected. I haven't even taken you into the forest. Isn't that restraint?" "Oh my God, this girl is getting excited. This is really not the time to fool around. If something goes wrong over at South Sea, it'll really be a mess." Lin Zaiasu let go, casting his gaze toward the Taoist temple entrance. Number 8 dashed out. "Chief Commander, Professor Lin from South Sea wanted me to convey to you. Your warning was correct. Wing Blade entered that area and has already discovered a sect." Lin Zaiasu stepped out of the Taoist temple platform. On the cliff edge ahead, Mad Taoist looked quietly in the direction of the county town. The county town could still be seen. But the north was completely different. The previous north had Xiangxi flowing down the valley, merging into Yishui. But now in the north, mountains suddenly rose, the terrain undulating without knowing how many miles. The former township was the nearest to the county town. Villagers could walk to the county town. But now that town was separated from the county town by endless mountains and rivers. Life is truly wondrous. The Mad Taoist slowly turned back. "Kid, by the look in your eyes, it seems you're planning something against me." "Look at you, Taoist. We're on the same boat here. What are you talking about with planning against each other?" Lin Zaiasu said. "Over at the South Sea, there's a sect. I want to ask you to come along with me. I don't usually go far unless." "Add money," Lin Zaiasu completed for him. "How much?" The Mad Taoist's eyes lit up. "Name your price." 3,000. 3,000. Is there a 10,000 at the end?" The Mad Taoist looked at him as if he were an idiot. Lin Zaiasu reached out and handed him a stack of bills. "Here's 10,000 yuan. The remaining 7,000 is for our conversations on the road." The Mad Taoist finally smiled. "The ticket's on you." Lin Zaiasu raised his hand, and a wing blade soared into the sky. "My ride, no tickets." Lin Zaiasu stepped aboard, and the Mad Taoist followed suit. As a Zazhh, the wing blade broke into the deep sky, flying southward. Its speed instantly reached 10 Mach. At such high speed, theoretically, there was no way to have a conversation on the wing blade. However, at this moment, the wing blade was not a high-tech weapon. It was a puppet with its own tranquil space on its back. Conversations were possible. Lin Zaiasu said, "Taoist, give me a special rate, 10 yuan per word. Now I can bump it up 100-fold, 1,000 yuan per word. I gave you an extra 7,000, so give me 7 words in response. How about it?" 7 words answer. The Mad Taoist squinted his eyes. "You actually already thought of the answer, but you just want me to say it out loud." "Yes." "Tell me." The Mad Taoist leisurely sat down on the wing blade's back, seemingly the type who would never stand if he could sit, and never sit if he could lie down. "I want you to tell me these 7 words. Sign an agreement with the sect master." "Sign an agreement with the sect master." Indeed, it's 7 words. But these 7 words, how thrilling are they? To ordinary people, signing an agreement with the invaders would be compromise. However, the agreement to sign, as proposed by Lin Zaiasu, was a move of unparalleled brilliance. Using the law of cause and effect as the foundation, sign the agreement. Enlist the suddenly appeared sect in the South Sea for oneself to use, and employ that sect to block that passage. What sort of agreement is this? This is directly subduing a great sect from a strange realm. "Kid just signed an agreement with Li Qianzong, tasted the sweetness, huh?" the Mad Taoist remarked. "That's right. So, here's the answer to solve the South Sea problem, wanting that newly emerged sect to also become your loyal follower. Taoist, you should know, this is the ideal solution." "Of course it's the ideal solution. However, kid, you need to know, this is completely different from subduing Li Qianzong," the Mad Taoist said. Li Qianzong was trapped in the array and eager to escape. You were genuinely his savior. The causality you concluded is a natural causality. Understood, the mad Taoist said, but this newly emerged sect likely doesn't have a fatal shackle. They have no reason to sign an agreement with you. So, I need you to guide me out of this puzzle on how to create causality from nothing. Kid, leading you to the gate of cause and effect might have been a mistake. The mad Taoist lightly sighed. You really don't understand. There's no such thing as causality from nothing. All causalities in the world come with a price. I am willing to pay the price. What kind of price are you willing to pay? That depends on what price you require, Taoist. Are you willing to pay any price? Willing? Even if from now on you carry a burden as heavy as a mountain, step by step into danger. Even if it means death where there's no reincarnation. Even if it means not seeing the light of day for millions of years, a life worse than death. The mad Taoist asked a series of 3 questions, advancing step by step, seemingly full of fate, and yet drawing one's will inch by inch into an abyss of 10,000 feet. The first and the third, yes. The second, no. Cannot accept death where there's no reincarnation. Yes. The mad Taoist stared at him for a long time. Everyone cherishes life. Other than death, everything else is trivial. But you should also know, in this world, there are actually many ways of living that are more unbearable than death. Death, in fact, I am not afraid of. It's just that, at this moment, my life, it seems, is not my own. Chapter 599. Chapter 598. Take a photo and show it to Widow Feng. The mad Taoist let out a light breath. Indeed, your life has just become bound with Li Qianzong's. If you die, the Taishan defense line will fall too, so you simply can't die, but anything else is permissible. You understand me, Master Taoist. Lin Ziasu also sighed lightly. The wing blade pierced through space, already flying over the Yangtze River, breaking into the Jiangnan land. At this moment in Jiangnan, it's the 3rd month of spring, the grass grows tall and the orioles fly. It is the most beautiful season of the year. On the wing blade, Lin Ziasu gazed at this beautiful scenery, yet was filled with mixed emotions. How many people are strolling in the parks of Jiangnan land, admiring the tall grass and flying orioles? How many are still on their way to work, striving hard to provide a better life for their families? Do they know that a catastrophic disaster is already on its way? Today they might be worried or unsatisfied. Do they realize that in the near future, these little worries, these unfulfilled desires might become their luxuries? People will always hope for better, higher, stronger, and more. But when their peaceful lives are disrupted, when the basic bottom line of tranquility is taken from them, they will wake up and realize that their past selves had once possessed everything they dreamed of. Kid, have you ever thought that all our efforts might be in vain? The mad Taoist's voice drifted lightly. I have, but still we must strive. Why? The mad Taoist asked. Lin Ziasu retracted his gaze. Let me tell you a story. It is said that at the beginning of our nation's founding, our warriors fought in foreign lands, gnawing on frozen hard potatoes in the icy snow, drinking melted snow, and using outdated weapons against the 17-nation coalition. A reporter interviewed a warrior. If this war is won, what will you do? Do you know what the warrior said? What did he say? He calmly told the reporter, I won't live to see the day of victory. Because he knows he won't see it, so he doesn't even think about it, right? Yes. The mad Taoist slowly lifted his gaze. He's just an ordinary person, but you're not ordinary. Master Taoist, you're wrong. Everyone thinks they are the unique light in this world, but in reality, everyone is just a fleeting wave in the river of time, including all living beings and naturally, including you and me. On the contrary, in my eyes, that warrior is the one who is not ordinary, because he has a clear sense of self and something he holds dear. You didn't understand what I meant, the mad Taoist said. The ancient wilderness passage has opened. You actually have another choice. You can enter the ancient wilderness in that world, use your talents and showcase your abilities. You can rise to prominence in that world and become exceptional. This is the universal logic of your world, survival of the fittest. And then, Lin Ziasu asked, shall I then return to this world in a majestic manner, stepping on thousands of layers of clouds? There's nothing wrong with that. But what happens then? When relatives are gone and all around is desolate, with things changing and people too, what would be the meaning of my departure today? Even if I tread on clouds in the future, what meaning would that have? The mad Taoist was silent. Sorry, Master Taoist, I have long said, I don't wish to become a god on the cultivation path. I want to be a person. I can be very ordinary, can be ephemeral, but until death, I want to be a person. The mad Taoist smiled faintly. Kid, let's talk about something lighter. Sure, you start. Lin Zaiyasu also relaxed. The mad Taoist said, you've been stumbling through life in this world for 23 years, acting domineeringly for almost 3 years. Up till today, do you have any regrets? Damn, you know my first 23 years were not easy, yet you didn't lend a hand. Lin Zaiyasu said, as for regrets, where in life isn't there regrets? Even today there are still regrets. Like what? For example, I have ventured on the cultivation path to this point, yet I still can't glimpse the scenery beyond observing heaven. For example, the upcoming May Day, my brother is getting married and I probably won't make it. For example, I have a few women one might call wives, yet to this day I have no children and I wonder if my parents will end up with no descendants. Forget it, a heap of regrets. What about you, Master Taoist, do you have regrets? My regret may only be one. I've always been puzzled as to why Widow Feng from your village wouldn't take a liking to me, the mad Taoist said. Lin Zaiyasu stared at him, confused for a moment. It was a legend, a countryside tale. Legend has it that the mad Taoist fell for Widow Feng, enlisted someone to propose, and Widow Feng considered it an insult. She rushed to the mad Taoist's cave, hands on hips, blasting him with curses so severe it was said to have made one Buddha emerge and two ascend to heaven, turning it into a humorous village story for miles around. At the time, Widow Feng didn't know how accomplished you were. She judged by appearances. Lin Zaiyasu comforted him. Why don't you, after this task, go back, change clothes, take a bath, get a haircut, tidy your beard, and try again? Does this look work? The mad Taoist slowly stood up. When he stood up, his hair suddenly became sleek. His beard suddenly turned neat. His worn Taoist robe also suddenly looked smooth. The dirt on him disappeared in an instant. The whole person no longer appeared as a crazy, disheveled mystic, but as a genuinely enlightened sage. Master Taoist, if you show up in front of Widow Feng like this, she'd go insane, Lin Zaiyasu marveled. The mad Taoist laughed heartily. Take a picture of me and send it to her. Is there a need? You can go face her in person and experience her. Flowers will bloom again, and people can be young again. The mad Taoist gently raised his hand and patted Lin Zaiasu's shoulder. Kid, the cause and effect of this task are too great for you to bear. Let me handle it. Lin Zaiasu's heart trembled slightly. Today, the flying car took off from Tashan and headed straight for the South Sea. It actually only took 8 minutes. In these 8 minutes, they talked about a lot of things, retracing the past, looking to the future from the highest level of causal games to the lowest level of country widow affairs, seemingly running completely off topic, completely lost. Yet in the final moment approaching the South Sea, they returned. The mad Taoist had changed his appearance, undertaking this cause and effect in a form he had never presented in his life. Lin Zaiyasu felt a subtle unease in his heart. When someone suddenly changes their past image completely, it heralds the greatest turning point in life. Judging by this stance, the mad Taoist seemed about to achieve nirvana. But hadn't he said before? He still had 2 chances to act. If the cause and effect plate is not wrong, this trip is unlikely to end in death. South Sea. Giant white military ship. The waves rise and fall, the morning sun rises. The spring breeze blows across the sea surface, faintly carrying last night's residual fishiness, but the sea has already washed away the traces of last night's fierce battle. On the deck, warriors stand shoulder to shoulder with Kun Kang's giants. Li Chushui gazes into the distance. She was named after water and spent her life studying it, yet ironically, it is only today she truly witnesses the ocean's grandeur and magnificence. Even more ironic is that she, as a Kun Kang giant with water as her sect, comes to the vast South Sea but feels not a sense of pride, but the desolation of being insignificant in the face of boundless nature. In last night's battle, they slew countless fierce beasts. However, the news they just received left all the Kun Kang giants, including her, dumbfounded. There is a sect in this folded space. The fierce beasts, viewed by everyone as the greatest enemy, are actually just the pigs raised by the sect. They fought all night with the opponent's livestock, using all their trump cards yet seeing no victory. What will happen next? Heaven and earth stretch vast and boundless, with no support. Master, Ding Ryushui hurriedly ran out from the operations room inside. A super expert has appeared over at Tashan. The siege of Tashan has been lifted. Super expert, Li Chushui's eyes lit up. To what extent? Silently, 4 giants gathered around, everyone's eyes shining brightly, including Yin Jiu. Yes, Yin Jiu was also among their ranks. In the past, Yin Jiu, a representative figure of the upper three sects, was the central figure at any important Kun Kang occasion. Now things are different. Now he can only be one of the Kun Kang giants led by Li Chushui. To what extent, no one knows, but facing 13 Enlightenment God Realm experts, he made a scarecrow fly up, killing them all with ease. Everyone held their breath. After a long pause, Yin Jiu exhaled. Is it that butterfly? No, he's just a seemingly crazy Taoist from Tashan, who has lived there for decades. No one knew he possessed unparalleled divine skills. Li Chushui let out a long breath. So, this world indeed hides many talents, and at any time it is not a dead end. Exactly, he's coming. Little Su, he's coming over. Ding Ryushui's smile showed infinite beauty, infinite excitement. The Kun Kang giants, looking at each other, suddenly all exhaled a long breath. No one admits it, but Lin Zaiasu is their backbone. However, they must also admit from the heart that when they heard Lin Zaiasu was coming, the heavy pressure weighing on their hearts suddenly eased a lot. Inside the operations room, 7 people. 5 with the appearance of generals, the remaining 2 were Blood Trace and Lin Weiyang. In front of them was a huge map. The map was just drawn, brought by Wing Blade. It showed this folded space. A pre-war meeting had just been held, with a tone set. The nuclear bomb is on the rack. The army is in position. The defense line has been arranged. Blood Trace paused his final approval to headquarters because Lin Zaiasu was coming. He'll be here soon. Should they wait for this last half-minute? This was Blood Trace's last struggle. Common sense told him that the 3 defense lines each had their responsibilities, and as the chief commander of South Sea Protection, he didn't need Lin Zaiasu, the chief commander of the Tashan defense line, to tell him what to do. However, after many years of walking the same path, he always felt there should be a better way. They couldn't figure it out, but perhaps Lin Zaiasu could. Suddenly, his gaze turned to the window. Outside the window, a wing blade was breaking through the sky. It's here, Lin Weiyang gently exhaled. His face carried a certain reassurance. The war strategy before them was devised by Blood Trace, but also by him, Lin Weiyang. Lin Weiyang was eager to see if there were any differences should Lin Zaiasu be the one to formulate the combat plan, but he also seemed to worry that once this Lin family member arrived, with his super combat thinking, he'd once again turn the tide and make Lin Weiyang feel the crushing of combat thinking. It was a very complex and contradictory mentality. But Lin Weiyang's mental strength was top-notch. His thoughts never reflected on his face. However, as the wing blade pierced the sky, it did not decelerate, nor did it land on the deck, but instead suddenly accelerated, with a bang breaking the sound barrier, shooting into the folded space. Chapter 600, Chapter 599, Cause and Effect 100 Years Lock. This voice exploded. It merely signified that Lin Zaiasu had arrived. The expressions of several generals changed simultaneously. The nuclear bomb is ready. How did he get in at this time? Blood Trace's face was a mix of emotions. We can only give him some time then. Commander, Wing Blade has already detected the situation with the Mad Blade sect. There are at least 3,000 people gathered there, and the attack order will be issued soon. Right now is the best window for attack. Indeed, another general replied, on the battlefield opportunities are fleeting. We can't wait. Blood Trace suddenly raised his hand. I said wait. The whole scene fell silent. From above the wing blade, the mad Taoist looked back at the battleship. Kid, we might catch some shells. Blood Trace is probably enduring great pressure. At most, he can only give us 1 more hour. Our action needs to be swift and decisive. Taking down a sect in an hour. Kid, you're setting the difficulty high. How about I pay you more? The mad Taoist let out a long sigh. You brat, always talking about money. Fine, the task fee can't be increased, but other aspects can be. From now on, anything involving your personal matters, I'll ask for it from you. After all, only you can afford this. Over there, full speed. His finger pointed directly to the highest peak. Wing Blade's speed suddenly increased, as swift as a shooting star, heading straight for the peak. Lin Zaiasu activated his heavenly Tao wisdom eye, and immediately saw the basic situation of this sect. On the outer perimeter, countless Qi Jiao. In the middle layer, countless Li Wan. On the inner side, just as he expected, a large batch of strange creatures appeared, body like dragons, possessing 4 blood-colored fleshy wings, heads resembling Li Wan and limbs like Qi Jiao. These were the common mounts in the ancient Great World, the 4-winged blood-flood dragons, capable of traversing both heaven and earth, flying thousands of miles without tiring. They could battle in the air, on land, and in water. The standard sea, land, and air 3-type war beast. Further inside was the sect itself. Pavilions and towers covered dozens of mountain tops, and in the valleys below, even armies gathered, numbering in the tens of thousands. On the plaza, there were also hundreds of people, each appearing extraordinary. On a high platform stood dozens who looked like elders wearing red robes. Suddenly, one of the elders sharply raised his hand, and a giant claw covered the sky in front, a structure both form and spirit, unmistakably Enlightenment God realm. An Enlightenment God realm giant made a personal move to stop the wing blade, solely because its speed had reached full mode. At such speed, it crossed thousands of miles in a flash. Ordinary Enlightenment realm cultivators couldn't react at all. But this red-robed elder reacted and sealed the path of the wing blade with this catch. Lin Zaiyasu was suddenly shocked. The mad Taoist beside him swished his sleeve. Ignore him. Wing blade shot straight through. With a soft pop, it was like tearing apart old cowhide, splitting the Enlightenment God's giant claw in two. Everyone on the high platform simultaneously gasped. Lin Zaiyasu was also taken aback. Taoist, you only have one more chance to act. Nonsense, you're cursing me. The mad Taoist was angry. This poor Taoist didn't make a move. Does that not count as making a move? Strictly speaking, he didn't even raise his hand, so it shouldn't count as making a move. The mad Taoist lifted his gaze. Heavenly Tao witness, this poor Taoist will not make a move today, take the blow. Boom! Throughout the sky, there were 7 or 8 giant palms. Wing blade burst through, the mad Taoist's hair flying high, simultaneously dispersing the 7 or 8 giant palms. Behind the giant palms, a sword came from the west, like a heavenly sword in the air. However, the mad Taoist placed his hand behind his back, looked up high, and the heavenly sword seemed to hit an invisible air wall, suddenly nullified. Wing blade had reached the highest mountain peak. At the top of the highest peak in a tiny room, an old man stood up suddenly. A single strike down. With this strike, the clouds in the sky vanished instantly, completely becoming the backdrop for this saber. The light of the blade was like a practice, with the power to break the heavens. Under the blade, Lin Zaiasu's entire body tensed. Such a blade, how could it be something he had ever seen? He couldn't even have imagined it. In fantasy dramas, even if such an imposing manner could be portrayed, it wouldn't capture the immersive, blood-congealing terror. Nothing else in sight but the imposing force of a heaven-splitting saber. Such a blade, could the mad Taoist still block it? The mad Taoist's air wall was split in two. Blade light broke through the wall, the mad Taoist soared into the air. Swoosh! Blood splattered, the mad Taoist's arm was cut off. The whole world seemed completely immobilized. Including the rolling clouds, the countless experts on the plaza, including Lin Zaiyasu, and the supersonic flying wing blade at his feet. Lin Zaiyasu gazed blankly at the one-armed mad Taoist. The mad Taoist also looked quietly at him, then suddenly smiled. Kid, now you know why I asked you to take a picture, because that's me with both arms. On the high peak, someone suddenly stepped out. This step was on the void below the cliff, but as the foot came down, a phantom great sword appeared in the void. The great sword served as a platform, measured by the foot. The starry sky is endless, with the heavens above. This is an old man, yet his entire body is explosively muscular, like a super war god that has emerged from the ancient wilderness. Every part of him exudes a murderous intent. Old Taoist, daring to intrude on my mad blade's territory, do you know this is the path to death? The old man's voice fell, and the illusory long blade under his feet suddenly extended infinitely, the blade's gleam reaching mad Taoist's throat. Stopped abruptly. The cold gleam of the blade cast a pale hue on mad Taoist's face. Of course, this might also be because his right arm was just severed, and blood still flows down. Mad Taoist laughed. Of course I know this is the path to death. What I seek is originally a wound. Mad Blade's thick eyebrows furrowed. Why? He also noticed the peculiarity of Mad Taoist. This person's cultivation is unfathomable. While intruding on sect master peak, no one in the entire sect could stop him, only himself could act. With such cultivation, theoretically, a strike not even with his full power shouldn't have succeeded in one move, yet it did. This series of illogical aspects made Mad Blade unsure of what medicine this man was selling in his gourd. Because only by personally receiving one slash from you can I activate the cause and effect plate, forming the cause and effect 100 years lock. Cause and effect 100 years lock. Mad Blade trembled all over. The shadow of the long blade under his feet modeled, clearly, his heart was shaken. The faces of the elders below also changed. Great Elder, what is the cause and effect 100 years lock? In the center of the high platform, a purple-clothed elder's face was deathly pale. The law of cause and effect, cause and effect. Although not answering directly, everyone realized this was an extremely terrifying practical method of the law. The law of cause and effect itself is one of the most mysterious among the heavenly Tao 7 techniques. All cultivators know the mysteries of cause and effect. However, very few know how it is applied. Because cause and effect in the general sense is not a killing technique. It is only a heavenly observation technique. Mad Taoist laughed heartily. Cause and effect 100 years lock, few know of it. Allow me to tell you truthfully, related to this 100 years lock, within 100 years, you and I are one. My injury is your injury, my death is your death. Mad Blade's gaze slowly lifted. I only believe in the Tao of the Blade, never in cause and effect. Don't believe. Mad Taoist suddenly raised his hand. A crimson spear shadow flashed from his eye hiss. His left pinky finger flew into the air for no reason. With this flight, Mad Blade's left pinky finger also suddenly flew up. The blood flowed long from Mad Taoist's finger. The blood flowed long from Mad Blade's left hand too. His face finally truly changed. People of their cultivation, losing a finger is nothing at all. With true yuan gathering, a severed finger regenerates in an instant. However, at this moment, Mad Blade couldn't repair it. No cultivation technique could repair it. Not even basic bleeding could be stopped. Do you believe now? Want to try another finger? Fresh blood speckled the new clothes on Mad Taoist's body. But on his face, there was a strange madness. The spear shadow swirled in his eyes. His index finger slowly lifted. The index finger is called the sword finger. What does that mean? Holding a blade or sword relies on it. Once this finger is severed, Mad Blade, the sword Tao tyrant renowned for his blade, both hands reaching pinnacle heights, would never hold a blade in his left hand again. Mad Blade raised his hand abruptly. State your intentions. It's great to talk. Mad Taoist flicked his hand, stopping the bleeding of the severed finger. Mad Blade's severed finger's bleeding inexplicably stopped as well. The entire audience was dumbfounded. Speak. Mad Blade's voice was icy. Mad Taoist ran his blood-stained hand through his hair gently. The only thing I seek is for your Mad Blade sect to guard this gate, allowing no one from desolate ancient realm to cross, and for yourselves not to harm anyone from Daxia behind you. Impossible, impossible, a person on the high platform shouted. Our sect has waited for this moment for 1,000 years. How could we abandon it for one person? Exactly, with the passage open, attacking and capturing new domains. Who does not desire this under heaven? The gate is open, asking our sect to stand idly by, even rebel and become enemies with the ancient wilderness, is absolutely impossible, another elder said. Outsiders have killed our Qi Jiao and Li Wan by tens of thousands, allowing them to go free. Wouldn't this let them despise our Mad Blade sect? In an instant, the platform fully erupted. In an instant, 10,000 people roared in unison below. Mad Blade's face was iron gray. Who doesn't know that with the passage open, they can invade the otherworld, seize the best opportunity, complete the conquest, claim land as king, and take the lead? Who doesn't know that protecting the Dharma for the land of the end of Dharma from the outside, opposing the ancient wilderness, is a dead end? However, the one under the 100 years cause and effect lock is me. Not you. You are bold and proud, what about me? Mad Taoist just had to add fuel to the fire. It seems the people of Mad Blade sect very much hope their sect master dies. That's fine, little Sue. The entire audience fell silent as he prepared to speak. Lin Ziasu bowed slightly. Taoist. Mad Taoist sighed. It seems meeting Widow Feng in this life is impossible. After I die, take my body to be buried with hers. I will obey the Taoist's last wish. Lin Ziasu replied with a sorrowful expression, bowing deeply. Time beyond the worldly one receives naturally. Who in the mortal world can discern life or death? 1,000 years of withering and flourishing passing through the eye like a dream. Time, fate, heaven, Tao. His hand lifted lightly, nails like a knife cutting toward his own throat. Stop, Mad Blade shouted deafeningly. Earth shaking. Mad Taoist's hand halted. The entire audience raised their heads uniformly, staring at their sect master. Chapter 601, Chapter 600, Mad Taoist not to be relied upon. Mad Blade took a deep breath. The heavenly Tao ought to have compassion, and the heavens and earth likewise possess a righteous path. Our Mad Blade sect, are we the kind to overstep boundaries and attack the lawless citizens? Taking hold of this passageway, we have but one mission, to protect the myriad beings of heaven and earth. The audience was completely petrified. Sect Master, did you really say those words full of grand pride and overflowing righteousness? Does our Mad Blade sect have anything to do with these nauseating righteous proclamations? Mad Taoist laughed. Sect Master has become enlightened. Mad Blade completely did not want to look at that old face of his, shifting his gaze downward. Pass my command. Guard this passage. Any ancient wilderness person who crosses the boundary will be treated as a bandit and killed without mercy. Within 100 years, anyone with disloyal intentions will be personally eliminated by me. The words 100 years were spoken with such grit and determination. By order, the great elder was the first to bow. By sect master's command, all the elders on the high platform bowed together. All disciples heed the order. Below, the disciples riding the four-winged blood flood dragons, ready to step onto the battlefield, shouted in unison, "Present." The army sets forth, target Broken Tail Mountain. By order, the blood flood dragons broke through the air. Tens of thousands of disciples flew toward the sect. Over there is the passageway between the ancient wilderness and this world. Lin Zaiasu's heart raced wildly, but at this time he would not show any emotion. Any emotion would be a stimulus. However, Mad Taoist did not think this way, he boasted. Sect Master, you and I are now people bound by the same fate for 100 years, the most reliable allies in history. Wouldn't you invite this humble Taoist in for a cup of tea? Sorry, I prohibit tea, Mad Blade replied. Mad Taoist was very puzzled. Cultivation in the mountains and wilderness, tea is for cultivating one's character and nature. Sect Master even prohibits tea. Mad Blade said, I did not prohibit it in the past. From today onwards, it is prohibited. He turned and went into the room. Taoist, let's go, I'll invite you for tea, Lin Zaiasu said. Relations have come to this point, the bond has lasted 100 years, yet can't even earn a cup of tea. Alas, the heart is not ancient, how can it be spoken? Heart gone cold and teeth chilled. Mad Taoist shook his head and sighed, his form fell onto Lin Zaiasu's wing blade. The wing blade soared through the air, flying out of the secret realm, out of the island, shooting toward the largest battleship ahead. 1,000 meters away from the battleship. Mad Taoist's form ascended, his body stretched into the sky, vanishing into thin air. The entire army opened their eyes wide. The wing blade's wings folded in, landing on the deck. Lin Zaiasu stepped out, smiling. Young Master Lin, Li Chushui slightly bowed. Little Su, the door to the command room suddenly opened. A figure flashed, Blood Trace King stood before him, both hands resting on his shoulders. Everyone need not worry, the problem of this folded space has been resolved, Lin Zaiasu said. With just one sentence, everyone's heartbeat accelerated, as if it would leap out from their bodies. Problem solved, what does that mean? Blood Trace, with an obvious knife scar on his forehead, was at this moment deep crimson. It means, Mad Blade Sect has decided to join us in alliance. They will act as the vanguard in this space, giving their all to intercept ancient wilderness crossing the boundary. A loud call came from the cultivation team. The entire ship erupted in cheers. Lin Weiyang just stepped out of the command room and suddenly paused at the door. He was completely bewildered. Why is this? Why? Blood Trace's face had also turned bright red. Heaven bears witness, such an expression on a heavenly king moved to such a degree has never happened before. Yet today it has happened. Because he is the overall commander of this battle. Because after a night of review, he felt perplexed and clueless. Even more so because he had a dreadful premonition of defeat, with the mountains and rivers falling. However, Lin Zaiasu came into and out of this space and told them there were no enemies. The anticipated strong foes were actually strong allies, who could calmly withstand such a shift. Lin Zaiasu slightly smiled. Mad Blade, the sect master of Mad Blade sect, is that Dayashi's closest friend, the kind who live and die together. That Dayashi guided with logic and moved with sentiment, awakening the Mad Blade sect's conscience. The sect master has already ordered the entire sect to stand against ancient wilderness. Originally intending to advance here, the large troop has already turned around, advancing to Broken Tail Mountain on the side of ancient wilderness. Li Chushui took a deep breath. Her face at this moment was as radiant as spring blossoms. That Dayashi has left. Yes. Young Master Lin, Yinjiu spoke. Could you invite that Dayashi down? All the Kun Kang companions eagerly wish to meet this senior. I know what you mean. Lin Zaiasu slightly smiled. You want to invite him to guard this place, right? Is it possible? If it is possible, then the South Sea would truly be as solid as gold, another sect master said. Lin Zaiasu faced countless eager eyes and lightly shook his head. You still better not count on it. Everyone has their own mission. Li Chushui nodded deeply. Young Master Lin speaks truly. That Dayashi still has the Tashin defense line. How can he be concerned with both places? He relieved this great difficulty for the South Sea for old ties. Such an enormous favor, how can we ask for more? Yes, indeed, in the days to come, we should personally visit the Dayashi's immortal mansion to thank him for the favor of his intervention today. Blood Trace laid his hand on Lin Zaiasu's shoulder. Shall we sit over there? Good. The two walked towards the edge of the deck, where there was a partition with 2 chairs and a tea table. The two sat down. The sea breeze blew past. Refreshing and pleasant, the sea waved before them, vast and boundless. Brother, shall we chat? 5 words, rendered in secret transmission. Blood Trace King originally couldn't use secret transmission, but after breaking into observing heaven, under the guidance of Miao Yin Heavenly King and Blue Demon, he also activated this skill. He is the most convenient, because he has already breached the observing heaven realm, and can transmit sounds in secret. I was just about to talk to you, Lin Zaiasu's voice returned. Do you know what I want to talk to you about? You want to ask whether the situation in folded space is true, right? Could it be that what you just said is not the truth? Blood Trace King's face changed. There are true parts and there are false parts. I can't tell them, but I must tell you, Lin Zaiasu said. Go ahead. Lin Zaiasu said. The true situation is that the Mad Blade sect has indeed currently become our comrades in arms. Blood Trace's heart, which was hanging high, slowly dropped. And the false aspect. The Taoist is not an old friend of his. Mad Blade has the intention to dismember us, but he is forced, only because the Taoist has cast a high-level spell called Cause and Effect 100 Years Lock, linking their lives practically to death. This miraculous cultivation story, revealed in full by Lin Zaiasu, stirred Blood Trace King's heart with excitement. What a magical spell! What an ingenious method to break the situation! Little Su, where did you unearth this Taoist? Can you invite him to join the Qianlong's grand strategy? You plan to rely heavily on him, Lin Zaiasu said. Blood Trace said, not just me, the Chief Long should also rely heavily on him. The current circumstances are so severe, one could say truly unprecedented. If such a great power person can fully engage, the great Xia civilization might truly be preserved. Lin Zaiasu sighed. I'm just worried Qianlong might rely too heavily on him, so I speak frankly with you. Blood Trace frowned. You're worried Qianlong might rely too heavily on him. Yes, Lin Zaiasu said. He has his constraints. He can only make a move one more time. Once he makes 2 moves, he must die, and if he dies, Mad Blade will also die. The Mad Blade sect we just subdued will definitely rebel. Blood Trace's back was drenched in cold sweat. Is this also cause and effect? Yes, so Qianlong must not hold too high expectations of him and minimize disturbances. Blood Trace slowly nodded. He is the Qianlong king. He is well versed in the art of strategy. Because of one mad Taoist, Mad Blade is locked. Because of one Mad Blade, the entire Mad Blade sect is bound. This appears to be a deadlock. But actually, it's easy to break. If the enemy knows the constraint on Mad Taoist, sends 2 batches of people to assassinate him, assassination will certainly not succeed, but can trigger Mad Taoist's counterattack. Mad Taoist's first kill, the first batch of people will undoubtedly die. But the second kill, with the second kill, Mad Taoist himself must die. If he dies, Mad Blade will also die. If Mad Blade dies, Mad Blade sect will surely rebel. The joyful situation they worked hard to create will vanish in an instant. Little Sue, do we need to provide him special protection? Blood Trace said. Protecting such a great power is a bit too funny. Let's avoid it. Lin Zaiasu said. You just need to keep this secret at the same time, ensure Qianlong doesn't push him. Keep this secret. Outsiders will not know Mad Taoist constraints. They won't dare to take action against him easily. And preventing Qianlong from pushing him isn't as easy as imagined. The current situation is so perilous. Anyone from Qianlong, anyone from Kun Kang, as long as they encounter difficult issues, will think of Mad Taoist first. At that time, all kinds of plans to invite him out will emerge. If the higher-ups of Qianlong don't know Mad Taoist's constraints, with Qianlong's methods, might indeed force Mad Taoist to act. So Lin Zaiasu explained the situation in advance to Blood Trace King to avoid things reaching that point. This is why he wants to fully disclose to Blood Trace. Don't worry, I know what to do. Let's talk about other matters, Blood Trace said. Do you know the situation overseas? I don't know but can roughly imagine, Lin Zaiasu said. On the 3rd of March, equatorial split sun. Not only in Daxia country are there 3 fissures, but there are also fissures overseas. Under Lin Zaiasu's careful deployment, and with everyone's full cooperation, Daxia country achieved sealing. What about other countries? It is impossible to completely seal them all. Overseas must already be in chaos. Indeed, the news Blood Trace received through special channel just confirmed his judgment. In Bamo country, Nammo State, Luoba State, Middle East, a large number of cultivators have already appeared in modern cities. Enlightenment realm giants have already appeared in the sky. Social order begins to collapse. Management structure begins to collapse. Cultivators kill and injure, occupy land, occupy mountains. Their worldview of the law of the jungle forcibly integrates into modern cities. Jianghu rules and legal systems violently collide. Regions are completely messed up. The military of various countries is mobilized, but under the cultivators, they are vulnerable. Fierce beasts emerge in the wilds. Swords traverse the sky. This world is already teetering. The world has already fallen into chaos. Currently only our Daxia enjoys peace, but I'm absolutely not optimistic, thinking our border can seal all the unstoppable strongmen globally. Blood Trace King said. Brother, the direction of the war has already changed. It's no longer about sealing the 3 domestic rat holes but facing the 1,000-mile border. Indeed, Lin Zaiasu exhaled deeply, raising his gaze, looking far into the depths of the South Sea where the skies and the ocean meet. Broad is blood and storm. Domestically it's peaceful now. People can be thankful to be born in the soil of Daxia, but mustn't be optimistic. At least Lin Zaiasu knows very well, Daxia absolutely cannot become an area forgotten by the ancient wilderness bandits. Quite the opposite. Daxia will be the place the ancient wilderness bandits want to enter the most. Why make such a judgment? Some past things have brought him this understanding. Chapter 602, Chapter 601, You Guard the South Sea, I Enter Legend. The underground bridge realm shares a continuous pulse with Daxia's ancient culture. Saintess Qian Ling also said that, in the ancient era she lived, the culture was almost identical to that of ancient Daxia. The memory fragments stirred up by Feng Jai clearly pointed in one direction, the ancient world, which also resembled Daxia's ancient culture. Among the 200 countries worldwide, only Daxia retains such an ancient cultural lineage. Daxia somewhat resembles their ancestral court. From ancient times to the present, regardless of cultural sect, the desire for the ancestral court surpasses all else. Therefore, Daxia becomes the place these people most wish to occupy. No matter which corner of the world they come from, they will ultimately aim their swords at Daxia. Blood Trace followed his gaze. Isn't there still a sense of powerlessness? Lin Zaiasu withdrew his gaze and looked at him. Blood Trace said, I know this shouldn't be spoken between us. You are the chief commander of the Tashan defense line, and I am the chief commander of the South Sea defense line. If we can't see hope, how can we expect others to see hope? So this is just a private conversation between us. Not seeing hope is quite normal, Lin Zaiasu said. Back when we resisted the Fusing invasion, when we helped counter Golden Eagles, those warriors who fought and died in the darkest nights of Daxia, most of them hadn't read many books, they couldn't think as far, couldn't see as far. In their eyes, there were only military orders, in their ears only the bugle. But it didn't stop them from fighting to the death, nor did it hinder later generations from eventually seeing hope. Blood Trace gently let his hand fall, gripping Lin Zaiasu's hand. Well said, brother. We may not think too much for our generation, just being born without complaints and dying without regrets is enough. In future, you at Tash and I at the South Sea. If you die, I'll scatter your ashes in the South Sea. If I die, you take my ashes to Tashan as if we brothers walk together to the end. How about it? Linzayasu gently flipped his hand over, covering it over his. Brother, sorry, this agreement of ours, I probably can't fulfill because I'm resigning from my position as the chief commander of the Tashan defense line. Where are you heading? Into enemy territory again. Not being the frontline chief commander, from Blood Trace's perspective, perhaps the only place Lin Zaiasu could be headed to was the enemy rear. Just like that day when he ventured deep into Luoba State, striking with an iron hand, sweeping away strong enemies beyond the borders. That was his strength. That was his legend. No, I'm going to the upper three realms. The upper three realms, Lin Zaiasu said. Legend has it, when civilization breaks, the upper three realms should appear. I want to ask them whether now is the crossroads of civilization breaking. Blood Trace exhaled a long breath. All right then, we brothers shall divide our tasks this way. The real-world defense is left to me, and pursuing legends is left to you. On this day, Lin Zaiasu rested on the warship. Last night he had no rest the entire time. After sealing the Tashan defense line, he rushed non-stop to the South Sea to complete the incredible task of subduing the Mad Blade sect. It was only now that he could take a breather. The warship rocked gently on the waves. Lin Zaiasu slept soundly. He slept from before noon directly until the sun set in the west. He very much enjoyed this peace, because he knew ahead he would be on the move again. No one disturbed him, except one very special person. Ding Ryushui. Dinner was brought to his bedside by Ding Ryushui. After eating and tidying up the dishes, Ding Ryushui handed him a cup of tea and then nestled herself into his arms, wrapping her arms around his neck. We once had an agreement that after the third day of the third month, we would spare 3 days and nights to try for a son for my mom to play with. Now it seems that has become a luxury. It seems we may not have the environment for 3 days and nights of frolicking around. Lin Zaiasu nodded. Yes, 3 days and nights seem really out of time. How about settling for 1 night? The time can be settled for, but the process can't be compromised. Let's try every style once. Thus, they settled for 1 night. Though they condensed the agenda of 3 days and nights into just 1 night, the time was indeed a bit compromised. But it must be admitted, what's condensed is essence. The next day, while Ding Ryushui was still sweetly asleep, Lin Zaiasu bid her goodbye with a kiss. Then he stepped out of the cabin. The wing blade, leaning at the ship's edge all night, opened its eyes and with a swoosh leapt from the bow. Lin Zaiasu moved his foot, soared through the air, and landed on the back of the wing blade. In an explosive sound, he broke into the firmament. On this go, heading to the great northwest. In the northwest, 1,000 miles of flowers are in bloom. The beautiful prairie welcomed its most beautiful season. Lin Zaiasu drifted on the wind blade, racing towards a predetermined place. Passing through southern Tibet, along the Tado River upstream, a towering mountain rose up. This was the Duan Liang Snow Mountain south of Kunlun. Duan Liang Snow Mountain, true to its name, is a high mountain like a severed ridge. Its top seemed as if cleaved off by a sword, presenting an image of a broken mountain. The wing blade went directly to mid-mountain. Here seemingly empty, yet at the 33 towers left by Taoist Lu Yun's Qianlong, an array formed a Taoist temple with 3 words on the temple, Upper Three Realms. The surrounding geographic location fit perfectly. Including the grassland beneath the mountain, the river below, the structure of the high mountain, except for one thing. There was no Taoist temple to be seen with the naked eye. Lin Zaiasu dismounted from the wing blade, stepping towards the rising sun. Suddenly, he saw the array patterns. His hand lifted lightly, touching one point, and the array patterns suddenly came to life. Distant snow mountains seemed to echo with a roar. Lin Zaiasu was slightly startled. He saw the full view of this array, extremely high-end, extremely profound, and extremely ancient. Found it. This is the Upper Three Realms. Only an array of this level is befitting the illustrious name of the Upper Three Realms. His thoughts stirred, the wing blade pierced through the sky. This crossing through space directly marks the return journey. Entering the 3 realms on an unknown journey, Wingblade need not wait outside. At this moment, the world has already drastically changed. Wingblade is the only trump card he left for his parents. Should they encounter danger, Wingblade will strike automatically and can even switch to its third form to perish together with a strong enemy. Wingblade Exile. Lin Zaiasu lightly tapped his fingers, tearing it. As if ripping through a layer of barrier, he finally saw the distant horizon, that ancient Taoist temple. As he strolled forward, the real world behind him became distant. The temple ahead was equally out of reach. This was still the profoundness of the array. Lin Zaiasu struck a second time, using the third style of Kaienkan breaking array hand, yin-yang balance. Yin-yang balance, dispelling illusions, the Taoist temple appeared before him. However, a fierce wind arose, and even though the temple gate was just a step away, it still felt like a chasm apart. Lin Zaiasu struck a third time, using the seventh style of Kaienkan breaking array hand, static and dynamic. The fierce wind around suddenly stopped, a yellow leaf fluttered down. Lin Zaiasu lightly extended his hand, and the ancient temple door creaked open. In front of him, a long road paved with bluestone appeared. The bluestone path had 81 steps. Ahead was a high bluestone threshold. Lin Zaiasu lifted his foot and stepped over the threshold. As he stepped over, his eyes widened, completely unbelieving. Before him was a surreal scene that only AI could depict. Tens of thousands of pavilions and towers made of jade were exquisitely crafted and extravagantly grand. It was not like an immortal realm, it unequivocally was an immortal realm. Yet coexisting with this excessive grandeur was extreme desolation. The jade was yellowing, leaves covered the ground, and though the pavilions and towers seemed magnificent, weeds grew through the gaps. Every building, every room was like this. Lin Zaiasu walked on the path covered with fallen leaves, feeling clearly underfoot the decayed mud of the dead leaves. The entire three realms was like this. Everywhere exhibited grandeur, everywhere exhibited desolation. This desolation was not due to war, nor man-made but natural extinction. He walked among buildings of unparalleled opulence in the mortal world, feeling a deathly silence akin to a graveyard. Even more silent than any cemetery in the secular world, for there were not even bugs or butterflies here. Not even the wind blew. Step by step, level by level, the grandeur was never-ending. The melancholy and desolation also had no end. Ahead was a high peak, upon which several dozen green tablets reached into the clouds. Lin Zaiasu ascended step by step, advancing further. Suddenly, at the side of the path ahead, a small Taoist temple appeared, its door barely ajar. Lin Zaiasu gently pushed open this door, and his eyes brightened. Inside was a dim green lamp, its light flickering faintly. Beneath the lamp sat a person, extremely small in stature, barely over a meter tall. That person slowly lifted their gaze, and under the faint light, their face slowly revealed. Lin Zaiasu's heart gave a sudden leap, Taoist Lu. The person beneath the lamp, standing just 1 meter tall, was much shorter than Lu Yun of old, yet his face was unmistakably that of Lu Yun. He matched exactly what Gu Jian Yaochen had described, a blind man in the three realms with a height of 3 feet 3 inches. He had spoken of a blind man, and the face was Lu Yun's. On Lu Yun's face a slow smile emerged. "You have come." "Does the Taoist still remember me?" Lin Zaiasu asked. "I saw you at Liu Lin Temple. I could tell you were an extraordinary person," Lu Yun said, "but I did not expect you to be the one to push open this door." "Taoist Lu, I hadn't intended to open this door, but the situation forced my hand." This was the truth. The three realms, rumored to appear only when civilization ends as saviors. The three realms were never invited. When it is the time of civilizational extinction, they appear naturally. If not the time, inviting them is futile. Therefore, when Chief Long spoke with Lin Zaiasu about the three realms, he initially had a plan, but later abandoned the search for the three realms. Taoist Lu Yun said, "Did you believe in an ancient prophecy handed down?" "Yes," Lin Zaiasu said. "It said that the three realms can avert the disaster of civilizational extinction. The three realms are the guardians of the human clan's flame. When there is a threat of civilizational extinction, it is customary for the three realms to intervene," Lu Yun said. "Alas, you are too late." "Too late?" Lin Zaiasu's heart suddenly sank. "Yes, too late by a million years." Why is it like this?" Lu Yun slowly stood, the green lamp behind his head encapsulating the desolation of the small room. His gaze slowly lifted, looking out to the sky beyond the temple. People say the three realms can save the world, but do you know how the three realms actually save? Please enlighten me, Taoist. Lin Ziasu bowed deeply. Only because at this moment, Lu Yun's standing reached only Lin Ziasu's waist, bowing made them level. Chapter 603. Chapter 602. Not a Taoist temple but a spirit tomb. The three realms are not just any Taoist temple, it is a spirit tomb. Lu Yun said, millions of years ago, heaven, earth, and humanity competed for the Tao. If a hero of the human clan perished, their heroic spirit would join the three realms. Have you seen the pavilions and towers outside? They are the heroic spirit tomb built for the billions of heroic spirits. 1,000 miles of heroic spirit land. Billions of heroic spirit tombs. The pavilions and towers are incredibly magnificent. They were originally the heroic spirit tombs built for the human clan's billions of heroic spirits millions of years ago. Heroic spirits, are they the true foundation of the three realms' calamity breaker? Lin Ziasu asked. Yes, but when a civilization is on the brink of extinction, how could the heroic spirits tolerate it? Once the billions of heroic spirits emerge, no matter the disaster, it would return to dust and earth. Alas, today there are no more heroic spirits, only empty spirit tombs remain. How can the three realms rescue the human world and continue the flame of human Tao? The heroic spirits, did they die in battle? Lin Ziasu's heart tightened. Lu Yun said, a million years ago, the last human Emperor Kun sacrificed himself to the Tao, severing the heavenly and sealing the earthly Tao, leaving an unprecedented glorious era for humanity. However, later generations did not honor Emperor Kun's merits. Instead, they vilified him as a demon, slandering heroic spirits who fought with him as accomplices of the demon path. All steels were smashed, all histories destroyed. Since then, no one remembers the heroic spirits of the three realms. Heroic spirits root in faith. Without faith, their spirit self-destructs. You speak of dying in battle. They would rather wish to die in battle, but alas, they died without fighting, huh? How ironic. His laughter was excessively loud, yet filled with mockery. Lin Ziasu sighed deeply. To destroy a people, first destroy their history. To erase their history, slander heroes as thieves. Eventually, they will meet retribution. Taoist Lu Yun also let out a long sigh. Who doesn't say so? To destroy heroic spirits and sever the faith is akin to digging one's own grave. In the post-Kun Emperor era, when faith was lost, morality diminished. 1,000 years of chaos ensued, and the human clan deteriorated to unprecedented decline. The flame of humanity lay dormant for a full million years, nearly extinguished, until 5,000 years ago, this spark reignited. Taoist, this flame now faces storm and tempest again. Indeed, through the ages, the flame is hard to continue. Success comes from humanity, as does failure. To dig one's own pit is to bear one's own consequences. Lu Yun picked up the solitary lamp behind him and slowly turned around. Wait. Lu Yun stopped, but did not turn back. Taoists, some say, this great calamity is not a dead end, there is a resolution. Lu Yun faintly smiled. When great calamity befalls the world, who among humanity doesn't hold some hope? The claim of a non-dead end, a solution, you probably hear it every day, but how to solve it? The three-character bone book human volume. Three-character bone book human volume. Lu Yun suddenly turned his head. You actually know of the three-character bone book human volume? His expression showed signs of astonishment. Lin Ziasu's heart skipped a beat. Can the three-character bone book human volume truly resolve this calamity? The three-character bone book human volume is divided into 3 sections. The first is spirit, the second heart, and the last lamp. The spirit section is about communication with heroic spirits. The original technique our three realms used to engage heroic spirits in the past. Taoist Lu Yun spoke with a trace of excitement, yet his eyes gradually dimmed. But today it is impossible. The three realms have no more heroic spirits. Even if there is spirit communication, there are no spirits to communicate with. Isn't it futile? Taoist, the three realms lack spirits, but what about the outside world? Is there no spirit outside? Lu Yun looked up. His face was a storm of expressions. Lin Ziasu met his vacant, lifeless eyes and slowly said, in the land of Daxia, this civilization was built by countless ancestors. 14 billion countrymen are not those who blur right and wrong of the post-Kun Emperor era. They remember and are grateful to the heroic spirits. If heroic spirits know the national crisis has returned on the East Sea shore, above the South Sea, throughout the vast mountains and rivers, they will certainly respond to the national crisis once more. The oil lamp in Lu Yun's hand gently flickered. If they hear of the national crisis and go forth to die together, it is yet another path of impassioned song. Young man, perhaps this is indeed a new door. Lin Zaiasu was overjoyed. Taoist, does this not solve the problem of lacking spirits to communicate with? With available spirits, it is still like fishing for the moon in the water, Lu Yun said. The three-character bone book human volume was lost after Emperor Kun sacrificed himself for the Tao. Countless cultivation experts have spent thousands or even millions of years but could not find it. How could we hope to find it? Taoist, someone entrusted me to deliver a message to you, Lin Zaiasu said. Who? The orphan of the ancient Array sect, Gu Jian Yaochen. Orphan of the Array sect, Gu Jian Yaochen. Lu Yun frowned slightly. I once knew a person, but his name wasn't 4 characters, it was 3. He was called Gu Jianchen. That's him. Back then, he loved the sword and detested arrays, so he changed his name to Jian Wuchen. After the Array sect sacrificed itself for the Array, he returned to his homeland, restored the ancestral surname, and took the name Gu Jian Yaochen. Gu Jian Yaochen, this guy, Lu Yun said. What did he say? He said, the 3-character bone book human volume is at the heavenly abyss. Heavenly abyss, Lu Yun was shaken entirely. Why is he so certain? I don't know, but I believe he wouldn't speak frivolously, Lin Zaiasu said. He said, he doesn't know where the heavenly abyss is either, only you know, Taoist. This is the real reason I came to the 3 realms today, hoping the Taoist can guide me, help me enter the heavenly abyss. The heavenly abyss cannot be found in the secular world, yet I can send you in, Lu Yun said. However, young man, your cultivation now is not sufficient to enter the heavenly abyss. You must at least break into observing heaven to have a slim chance of entering the heavenly abyss and surviving. Lin Zaiasu was frozen, once again facing a dead end. To enter the heavenly abyss, one must be at observing heaven level. To hell with the observing heaven of his ancestors. My path is blocked. Even a great power like Gu Jian Yaochen declared it unsolvable. What can I do? Are you caught in a dead end? Lu Yun asked. Taoist insight, my observing heaven, is indeed impossible, Lin Zaiasu admitted frankly. Lu Yun laughed. The esteemed seniors on the cultivation path all say you cannot enter. Yes. They are wrong, all entirely wrong. Lin Zaiasu's heart suddenly raced, doubling in speed. What in heaven's name does this mean? The Saintess Qian Ling of ancient great power, Gu Jian Yaochen of otherworldly great power, they all proclaimed he could not enter observing heaven, yet Lu Yun said they were wrong. Lu Yun said, they follow the cultivation path, they study under the heavenly Tao system under which remnants of heavenly Tao cannot glimpse heaven. Indeed, it's an iron rule. From their perspective, you cannot enter observing heaven, and they are right. However, young man, you're not walking the heavenly Tao. Lin Zaiasu lightly licked his lips, still unclear on the meaning. Lu Yun said, 8 stars of heavenly Tao, 1 star of human path, unity of heaven and man, who says it's impossible to observe the heavens. 8 stars of heavenly Tao, 1 star of human path, 9 stars shining in the sky. In Lin Zaiasu's eyes, light flickered. Lu Yun added a sentence. Do you know why Emperor Kun in the past became the hero of the human path? Just because he was like you, on the eve of 9 stars observing the heavens, he sacrificed 1 star for his beloved, to make up for the tears of the human path, achieving unity of heaven and man, hence unable to part from the earthly smoke, becoming the human emperor for all ages. Lin Zaiasu lifted his gaze suddenly. Tears of human path, how can one obtain them? Lu Yun raised his finger. Above are 13 human emperor steels, beneath are 33 levels of the human emperor path, spanning 3 Zhang, 3 Kai, 3 Kun. 3 Zhang in front of the steel can perceive the way of the human world. 3 Kai can receive the tears of human path. 3 Kun can obtain the emperor's qi. Young man, this is an extraordinary opportunity that is hard to find in ages. If you can gain the emperor's qi, you will possess the might of the emperor, can enter the heavenly Tao's view, receiving abundant favors. Your cultivation path will consist of endless opportunities. Lin Zaiasu raised his gaze, staring at the 33 levels of the human emperor path in front of him. The human emperor path, although only 33 levels, is based on bluestone, extending beneath the underworld, reaching above the firmament, deep and heavy. His heart at this moment was unprecedentedly calm. Path to observing the heavens. A once severed road. Those on the top tier of cultivation, seeing the highest and furthest, all made a judgment for him, that in his lifetime he could not observe the heavens. Only due to the iron rule of cultivation, sky fragmented, Tao deficient, cannot observe the heavens. This was the step he took in revealing humanity at that time, resulting in this consequence. Abandoning a drop of heavenly star tears to save the beloved, thus he put an end to his cultivation road. He never regretted, even if this matter were repeated 1,000,000 times, he would still make this choice. Yet he deeply regretted this result. Unable to enter into observing the heavens, his cultivation road was cut off halfway, facing the overarching force of the heavens. How could he, a mere tiny ant, speak of change? But now, ascending to the three realms, the severed road has a chance to reopen. Lu Yun told him, from the standpoint of the cultivation path, everyone's judgment was correct, because that was the iron rule of the heavenly Tao. However, the path he walked was not purely the heavenly Tao path. He had already made a choice, the same choice he once told the blue demon, that moved the blue demon to the point of nearly being willing to give oneself up. I don't want to be a god on the cultivation path, I choose to be a human. Heavenly Tao occupies 8, human path occupies 1, all returns to origin, unity of heaven and man. This drop of tears from the human path will construct a bridge reaching the heavens on this dead end. The road is there underfoot. This road is also the one that the legendary human emperor, Emperor Kun, once walked. Lin Zaiasu took a step forward. In front of him, light and shadows flowed. He seemed to return to the foot of old Tashin. Country lanes, a bouncing silhouette, mother chasing behind, calling out with care. Back then, mother was still young. Time flies, stars shift. Mother grew old slowly in the wind and frost of time. He also grew step by step with the wandering of time. What an unblemished period was that! What a regular and warm little mountain village was that! Yet as he passed the 10-level steps, the wind and clouds of heaven and earth changed. He heard the rumbling cannon fire in his ears. History's winds and clouds unfolded before him. Adulthood is not just the path of childhood countryside. Adulthood should know the road underfoot. The current peace, ancestors laid it with white bones. The Dazia's mountains and rivers of 10,000 miles are rebirths from the fire of the battlefield. The smoke of war, countless white bones, the resounding military horn seemed to awaken all his passion. Another 10-level steps passed. Before him appeared temporary peace again. Skyscrapers, modern cities changing day by day, time is serene and good. Yet peace is always transient. The clouds moved in the sky, countless cultivators came flying through the air. The earth cracked, the city turned into ruins. Walking across this ruin, his heart was like being gripped tightly by an invisible force. A tender voice sounded beside his ear. "Brother, what do you want to be when you grow up?" "Sister, we can never grow up." Familiar Mandarin, familiar country tones. As if happening in a distant space-time, yet also as if happening in the near future. The future of this world, the future of Dazia, is just like this. Heaven and earth overturned, all beings mourned together. Vultures gnawed on skeletal remains. Parks turned into graveyards. Today's serene time good turns into the desolation of the end of days. Children struggled forward in the ruins. No one could see the future. This is his country, this is his home, this is his compatriots. A tear dropped from Lin Zaiasu's eye. Chapter 604, Chapter 603, breaking through observing heaven as if reaching the enlightenment realm. This tear pierced through the mist in front of him, crashing onto the battlefield of a seemingly real yet illusory future. At this moment the blood tower within him, once dried up, became crystalline again. A single tear gathered, drip, drip, fell down. 1,000 revolutions spun, soaring into the sky. Above the sky, 9 heavenly stars gathered. With the gathering of 9 stars, heaven and earth separated. Beneath the blood tower, as if chaos reopened, a vast ocean appeared. With the 9 stars gathering, the sea of reincarnation opened. The path of observing heaven truly formed. The blood tower shone brightly. The 9 stars shone brightly. Waves rose in the sea of reincarnation, and his true chi suddenly increased tenfold, finally achieving the path of observing heaven. Lin Zaiasu suddenly opened his eyes, and the boundless illusion realm in front of him completely vanished. He stood alone on the 32nd step. A step away on the 33rd platform stood 13 gigantic steels towering into the sky. Human Emperor Xin, slaying giant demons at Wyong, establishing the land of 8 desolations, the first human emperor. Human Emperor Rui, establishing human regulations, creating 1,000-year prosperity, the second human emperor. Human Emperor Ding, Human Emperor He. Human Emperor Jiuji. Human Emperor Kun, sealing heavenly Tao, severing earth Tao, pioneering human Tao supremacy, the 13th human emperor. Lin Zaiasu quietly gazed at these 13 steels, representing the supreme human Tao for a long time. Just one last step, go ahead. A voice came from behind, full of excitement, unprecedented excitement. It was Lu Yun. He did not know when he appeared behind Lin Zaiasu. Lin Zaiasu slowly turned his head. Kid, do not turn back. Even though Lu Yun's eyes were both blind, he seemed to see him turning back. Lin Zaiasu gently smiled. The last step, I won't take it. Lu Yun was greatly shocked. Why? To wear the crown, one must bear its weight. This crude lad, how dare I bear it with my body? Lin Zaiasu deeply bowed before the 13 human emperor steels and stepped down. With this step he left all 33 steps behind. Before him still was that Taoist temple with Lu Yun holding a solitary flickering lamp. His face was full of disbelief. Kid, this poor Taoist has made it clear, within 3 inches of the steel, you can gain the emperor's qi. Even if you do not know, you should be able to imagine the help that the boundless fortune agglomerated in the emperor's qi would bring to your cultivation path. Every cultivator under the heavens, no matter who they are, absolutely cannot abandon this exceptional opportunity within arm's reach. Yet you forsake it 3 inches and 3 parts away. A person should have self-awareness, Lin Zaiasu said. This country lad, how dare I take the human Tao's emperor qi? Moreover, the world today inherently has no emperor. Lu Yun stared at him for a long time and finally sighed. The opportunity has been missed, regret is in vain. Kid, you've made this poor Taoist both painful and sorrowful. Taoist master, send me to the heavenly abyss. Follow me. Lu Yun gently turned the lamp in his hand, and upon the platform light streamed, seeming to reveal a vast land. One lamp of the Taoist temple, 1,000 paths in the world go forth. Lin Zaiasu stepped onto the platform, lights flashed, and streams of light spread everywhere. He felt the power of the array path. Could this be the legendary transmission array? The transmission array stopped. Before him was an abyss of complete darkness. He stood atop a cliff. The rocks beneath his feet were like black iron, and the abyss before him was like the mouth of a giant demon. The wind howled and the beast roared. Beside him bloomed a red spider lily, probably the only touch of scarlet within 100 miles. The red spider lily gently swayed, and Lu Yun's voice came from within. This red spider lily will bloom for you for 7 days. Within these 7 days, if you gain something, it is naturally good. If not, you must return on time. Under no circumstances should you linger, or you will never be able to return. All right, Lin Zaiasu took a step toward the abyss. With a swoosh, he vanished into the void. In the Taoist temple, Lu Yun suddenly shuddered and the lamp in his hand flickered wildly. Lingkong stepped void, exclusive to the enlightenment realm. He just broke observing heaven. Such a heavenly pride missed out. No, voluntarily gave up the emperor's path. Yes, just now, when Lin Zaiasu took a step forth, he stepped into the void with Lingkong step void, flying through the void. Others didn't know. Only Lu Yun knew. Because he possessed the 9 paths of the heaven, which could transport people to any place with coordinates. The 9 paths of the heaven used the red spider lily as the eye and could monitor everything within 10 miles of the flower. He clearly saw Lin Zaiasu's Lingkong step void, stepping into the exclusive domain of the enlightenment realm. He had just entered observing heaven, and already broke through the gulf between observing and enlightenment. Such a heavenly pride, no less illustrious than the strongest human Emperor Kun in history. Yet it was this heavenly pride that did not take the emperor's qi. Why? Lu Yun couldn't fathom it no matter what, but Lin Zaiasu's heart already had the answer. There was only one reason. He knew of a harsh truth. 1,000,000 years ago, heaven, earth, and man contended for the Tao. Note that humans and heaven were once adversaries. You may obtain your allies' favor, you may fully enjoy your kin's favor, but if nothing goes wrong, it's best not to think of being favored by your opponent. Thus, Lin Zaiasu could only let down Lu Yun's expectations, keeping himself 3 inches and 3 parts away from the human emperor steel. This world is without an emperor anymore. Lin Zaiasu did not wish to be an emperor either, especially because this emperor would be favored by heavenly Tao. These thoughts lingered only around the 3 inches and 3 parts before the steel. At this very moment, elements of contentment were implanted into his heart. Finally breaking through the shackles and stepping into observing heaven, it was the greatest joy of his life. Stepping into the observing heaven realm and being able to fly is indeed a great joy. The most badass observing heaven I've ever seen is Fengjai. Fengjai walks on waves, walks on leaves. A 1,000-meter-high mountain takes only 15 seconds. I once thought this was only a hair's breadth away from the enlightenment realm, but today, I've just entered observing heaven and can fly directly. Even more badass than the badass Fengjai, so this girl deserved to be suppressed by me. Why is it so badass? When Lin Zaiasu's true chi rotated within him, he immediately understood the true reason. The real reason is that he had been trapped in the observing earth realm for too long. His foundation was too solid. 9 stars ascend to the heavens, forming a sea of reincarnation, and the sea naturally connects with the heavenly star. The connection between the heavenly star and the sea of reincarnation marks an upgrade in the observing heaven realm. The traditional upgrade requires connecting each of the 9 stars to the sea of reincarnation one by one, but perhaps he had been stifled for too long. The stars were already eager, all 9 connected directly to the sea of reincarnation. So, even though he just broke into observing heaven, in truth, he had traversed all the arduous paths others labor through in the observing heaven realm. He had stepped into the pinnacle of observing heaven. This is the benefit of biding one's time and making a breakthrough. The pinnacle of observing heaven is comparable to the enlightenment realm, which seems quite normal for him. These surprises had to be set aside for now. Lin Zaiasu needed to fulfill his greatest mission of entering the heavenly abyss. Gu Jian Yaochen said the 3-character bone book was in the heavenly abyss. However, the heavenly abyss is so vast and unfathomable, who knows where this 3-character bone book actually is? Lin Zaiasu could only capture abnormal auras. With this capture, he truly realized why Lu Yun insisted he break into observing heaven before entering the heavenly abyss. Simply because the heavenly abyss has terrifyingly abnormal auras. With a whoosh, a massive shadow rose from below, a giant black snake. It opened its mouth wide towards Lin Zaiasu. Lin Zaiasu raised his sword and struck down. In the pitch-black abyss, separation unleashed with sword Tao Azure Flower, the sword light extending over Tenjiang. A soft sound, and the giant snake's head was severed out of thin air. As Lin Zaiasu turned in midair, the dark abyss was like misty rain Jiangnan. The head exploded in the misty rain, and a primordial crystal was absorbed into his secret realm space. Lin Zaiasu's heavenly Tao primordial spirit examined it, confirming the energy of this primordial crystal to be 100 times that of a crimson scale. Very well, I'll have you for breakfast. The primordial crystal shattered in the chaotic space currents, entering the gate of creation. His entire body's essence and blood seemed to be replenished greatly. The misty rain covered the earth, alerting countless abyssal beasts. All of them turned into primordial crystals under Li Ren tears, the crystals shattering and sent into the gate of creation. Lin Zaiasu walked through the void, flying 100 miles on the scene of misty rain Jiangnan, slaughtering over 1,000 abyssal beasts of various attributes along the way. No matter the attribute, whether poisonous or nutritious, all were sent into the gate of creation. He felt his flesh continuously strengthening. His energy was extremely abundant. He also had to thank his breakthrough. If he couldn't fly, the underground journey of 100 miles would have been perilous at every turn, but with void flight, the stretch that worried Lu Yun the most was, for him, a garden stroll, a tea tasting by the lakeside. There were signs. The time constraints of 7 days set by the blooming of the other shore flower were, for him, not constraints. Because void flight saved so much time compared to traversing mountains in the heavenly abyss. Ahead there was suddenly an anomalous aura. Lin Zaiasu sidestepped with a swish, passing through an abyss 100 meters wide and bottomless in front, landing atop a cliff. Beneath the cliff, the walls were as steep as a 1,000-mile-high mountain. From below the cliff came a terrifying aura that unsettled the mind. Even in his current state, Lin Zaiasu could sense this aura's terror. Yet this aura was like a minor witch compared to the great sorcerer of the tree before him. In his perception, this tree was like an unparalleled sword. Though dry and ancient, devoid of leaves, it clearly harbored endless killing intent. Could there be a peerless swordsman hidden inside? But he sensed no sign of life. At the top of the cliff, there was no wind, no grass, not a trace of green, no sign of life, only a strong sense of impending death. Lin Zaiyasu gazed at the tree for a long time, approaching it step by step. The killing intent grew stronger and stronger. He even felt that the tree would soon transform into a sword for a fatal strike against him. Swish! His sword unsheathed. Centering on him, Li Ren tears formed a small domain. He was like a wanderer from Jiangnan, rowing a boat, gradually approaching a giant beast in slumber. The beast was undisturbed. In the hollow of the tree there was a black coffin. On the coffin, a few dewdrops shimmered like jade. In all the oppressive stillness of the scene, only the dewdrops brought a hint of brightness. Yet it was precisely this brightness that marked the source of the sword-like killing intent Lin Zaiyasu sensed. Lin Zaiyasu slowly reached out, touching the edge of the coffin. The dewdrops wavered, on the verge of falling. Increasing unease filled Lin Zaiasu's heart. He had an intuition. If he pushed open the coffin, the dewdrops would indeed explode. Once the dewdrops exploded, the terrifying killing intent of heaven and earth would completely annihilate him. To open or not to open the coffin? That became a question. Chapter 605, Chapter 604, Three-Character Bone Book Human Volume. Entering the Heavenly Abyss is for the Three-Character Bone Book Human Volume. If there's no major illness, there's no need to take such a big risk. His sensing power is extremely meticulous. He is very certain that as soon as he opens the coffin, he will face life-threatening danger. Then, not opening it seems to be the choice of the wise. However, in the Heavenly Abyss, he has searched around, and only this coffin is so abnormal. If he retreats when facing danger, even with the Three-Character Bone Book, he might still miss out. On one side is the greatest mission. On the other side is the safety of his own life. How to choose? Lin Zaiasu's gaze slowly lifted, gritting his teeth. Damn it, let's go for it. Push with a sudden shove. The coffin opened with his push, and the dew fell with his motion. Hiss! A sword pierced through the air, directly aiming at his forehead. The profundity of this sword surpasses all imagination. Even though Lin Zaiyasu reacted quickly and was on high alert, he was still directly pierced through the forehead by this sword. One of his primordial spirits was lightly touched by the sword's glow and vanished into smoke. Blood flowed from his forehead down to his chin. Lin Zaiasu's whole body tightened up. Damn! This is a killing sword. If I didn't have two primordial spirits, I'd be dead by now. However, he has two primordial spirits. One is gone, but there's still one left. This one must not be risked. Lin Zaiyasu sat cross-legged, as another drop of dew formed outside the coffin. The killing intent inside this drop of dew is noticeably heavier. But Lin Zaiyasu seemed unaware. His mind was fully immersed in the sea of consciousness spirit platform, where the only remaining primordial spirit hand suddenly raised. In the primordial spirit's hand is also a sword. The sword rose. A sword slashed at himself. The primordial spirit within split into two. Lin Zaiasu's eyes shut tightly, the sharp pain from the spirit platform making the blood on his forehead just dry. Sweat beads formed again. Success. This sword was learned secretly. On the day of the transformation of the heavenly Tao at Liu Lin Temple, he dreamed of obtaining a third chance, entering that mysterious place again, and being slashed in two by a single sword from the beautiful female corpse. Lin Zaiyasu remembered the sword, pondered it for a long, long time, and today risked trying the same angle to slash himself, and indeed smoothly split his primordial spirit into two. Good, now I have two primordial spirits again. Not afraid of you killing me, bring it on again if you dare. Lin Zaiyasu stared at that drop of dew, internally provoking. The dew had no response. Due to the action of opening the coffin, he had already taken a sword. Now, without further action, the dew also had no further action. Lin Zaiyasu took a deep breath, stood up, and aimed his gaze at the coffin below. Inside the coffin is a Jianghu man. In his hands, holding a human thigh bone. The thigh bone has 3 sections. Looks ordinary, just like human skeletons in the lab. Only one thing is different. There's a very simple character on this thigh bone, human. 3-character bone book, human volume. Lin Zaiasu's hand suddenly reached out. The dew beside the coffin suddenly shook, about to fall. Lin Zaiasu's hand abruptly stopped. The dew also stopped. It is quite clear that once he touches this bone, there will definitely be a second round of attack, the profound sword Tao of the attack being completely irresistible, looking at the sword Dao killing intent emanating from this do more intense than the previous strike. Cannot act recklessly. Lin Asu's sea of consciousness primordial spirit took a step into the space secret realm, a step onto the time-space river, and 1 foot into the time-space river. On the time-space river, the eyes of the Black Lotus suddenly opened wide. Kid, what are you doing? Big Yellow, I'm hiding. Is someone trying to take your sheath? Almost. So, you must accelerate your comprehension of the space-time law. The sooner you get me out of here, beneath heaven and earth you can roam freely. Who would dare to take your sheath? Lin Asu rolled his eyes and plunged headfirst into the time-space river. He knows very clearly. This old man speaks half-truths and half-lies. If he releases him, probably truly no one could take his sheath. Why so? Big Yellow would take it first. Big Yellow shouted sharply, you dare enter the time-space river completely. Time-space river, the most terrifying cage in the world. Probably no one understands it better than Big Yellow. Because he is trapped in the cage, unknown how many thousands of years without escape. Right now, this kid plunges into the time-space river himself. Theoretically, he's exactly like him, forever trapped in the time-space river. How can he dare do this? He couldn't possibly know. At this moment, Lin Asu really couldn't care. He's on a big adventure. He wants to obtain the 3-character bone book human volume, with a drop of dew watching intently, always ready for a deadly strike. He doesn't want to die, so he first hides one of his primordial spirits. With such an unimaginably profound sword Dao, no place is safe for hiding the primordial spirit except the time-space river. Of course he knows Big Yellow's terror. But he is not Big Yellow, he has 2 primordial spirits. If the time-space river is a labyrinth, the inherent linkage between the 2 primordial spirits is the exact coordinates with each other. A person in a labyrinth holds a thread, with an anchor point outside the thread. Would he worry about not getting out of the labyrinth? Everything is ready. Lin Asu's other primordial spirit steadied itself and started to take action. The space law suddenly operated. The 3-character bone book vanished into thin air. Entered his secret realm space. Upon entering, a dewdrop suddenly shattered and a sword came forth. Lin Asu swore he had blocked this sword. Yet it was all for naught. The sword swept over, leaving his entire sea of consciousness desolate and empty. The primordial spirit he was prepared to wage a great battle with, extinguished like a candle in the wild wind. The primordial spirit, hidden in the time-space river, suddenly felt the rope it held go slack. With a flash it sprang upward, following the rapidly vanishing sensing cord, out of the time-space river. Back to his sea of consciousness. Big Yellow exclaimed in surprise, you. Cold sweat dripped down Lin Asu's back. Played a dangerous game indeed. If he hadn't hidden this primordial spirit in the time-space river, this sword would have completely obliterated his primordial spirit. If his sensing power were slightly off, he might not have been able to escape the time-space river. Even if he dodged the sword's sweeping attack, he might have had to accompany Big Yellow for a long time, 2 lonely primordial spirits traveling the time-space river together. Thankfully, it's all past now. The 3-character bone book is in his hands. Let's see who's in this coffin, a person turned ghost yet still so fierce. Upon seeing, Lin Asu's eyes stopped moving. The whole person, completely petrified. The person in the coffin, he knows well. Gujian Yaochen. Aged, weathered, just like on 2 Realms Mountain. But his body clearly has been sleeping here for endless ages. Although not decayed, his clothes are already in tatters, with no signs of life at all. What is going on? 2 people looking exactly alike. The one on 2 Realms Mountain swapped cups with him, warm and affectionate, called each other brothers. And this one from the heavenly abyss showed no mercy, twice attempting to kill him. Can't figure it out here, better ask Lu Yun afterward. Lin Asu slowly stood up, suddenly feeling his hair stand on end. Because he saw around him, all sparkling. This is the familiar dewdrop. The dewdrop turned into bubbles inside him, encasing him. A terrifying killing intent came from all directions, making him unable to move an inch. Brother Gu, are you planning to keep me here with you? Lin Asu took a deep breath. Within his sea of consciousness, his primordial spirit raised a hand, wielding another long sword. Swish! The primordial spirit split in 2. PFFFF. One primordial spirit charged again toward the time-space river. Big Yellow was at this moment dancing on the Black Lotus, nearly going mad. Simply because he just saw this kid come out of the time-space river. What does this mean? This means the kid has mastered the method to escape the time-space river. He can leave, then can't he leave too? This thought made Big Yellow, an old ghost sealed for countless unknown years, so excited he almost took flight. Yet this kid ran. No communication. Now the kid came again, and Big Yellow seemed electrified. Little bro, let's talk. Even the address changed. No time. You've come, so what's with no time or have time, Shut up, otherwise no more talk at all. Kid you? Big Yellow was furious, reverting to the familiar address. But Lin Zaiasu glared at him, and Big Yellow wisely shut up. Lin Zaiasu closed his eyes, blocking all interference, focused on connecting with the primordial spirit outside. The primordial spirit outside looked at the dewdrop circle outside, gently sighed. I've got terrible luck today, come on. With a whoosh, he broke the circle. Upon breaking out, the dewdrops transformed into the god-slaying sword, sweeping across. The primordial spirit within Lin Zaiasu's sea of consciousness was unsurprisingly destroyed, and he plunged headlong into the abyss beneath. With this fall, he was instantly 100 meters away. Below, a sudden billowing fog appeared. As Lin Zaiasu was about to plunge into the fog, the primordial spirit from the time-space river leapt up, returning to the sea of consciousness, fully taking over the flesh body. The blood tower vibrated, the sea of reincarnation turned, he tread on the fog and soared into the sky. Suddenly, within the fog, a giant hand thrust out. Lin Zaiasu caught this terrifying scene in the corner of his eye, was greatly startled, and speedily increased his pace. In an instant, he was several miles away, yet the ball of fog suddenly rose from the valley, moving even faster than him. The giant hand was peculiar with 6 fingers, and in the center of the palm was an eye still resembling the flower petal. Lin Zaiasu's hand rose abruptly, seemingly sweeping away the surrounding darkness, transforming into misty rain Jiangnan. Amidst the misty rain Jiangnan, flowers withered, one flower flew up. Boom! Accurately hit the flower petal eye. The entire abyss suddenly quaked as if the heavens and earth were overturning, causing the ground to shake and fog to rise. The red spider lily on the path he came was also swaying violently, seeming to be torn apart by an invisible hand. In this critical moment, Lin Zaiasu stepped onto the cliff. A finger touched the red spider lily. In a flash of light, he vanished into thin air. With a boom, that 6-finger giant hand pressed down into the void. The cliff location became complete void. Before Lin Zaiasu's eyes flowed endless array pathlights. Finally, the flowing lights faded away, and he appeared on the Tao platform. A lamp flickered dimly before him. Beneath the lamp, a short Taoist about 3 feet high. Taoist Lu Yun's complexion slightly changed. You entered the heavenly abyss for less than 2/4 of an hour and have hurried back. What happened? Chapter 606, Chapter 605, Soared into Spacetime. I obtained a bone, theoretically the 3-character bone book human volume, but I didn't sense any unusual energy. Raising his hand, Lin Zaiasu revealed a femur bone in his palm. Lu Yun's entire body trembled, and his fingers suddenly elongated, touching the bone with one finger. His expression changed dramatically. It's exactly it. How did you obtain it so effortlessly? Effortlessly? Lin Zaiasu's expression was hard to read. I died 3 times. And you call that effortless? Indeed, from an ordinary person's perspective, he really died 3 times. Because his primordial spirit was truly extinguished 3 times. If he didn't know the divine splitting technique, he would have been dead 3 times, let alone now observing heaven. Even at the enlightenment God realm, he would have died 3 times. Because that dewdrop was simply irresistible. It just swept through his sea of consciousness and spirit platform. When he went, his primordial spirit was severed. Had anyone else gone, they would have been killed. He didn't die solely because he knew the divine splitting technique. Kill one and another would appear, split again with a new one and let them kill away. After 3 rounds, he escaped without a trace. Skipping over the harrowing experience just now, Lin Zaiasu asked the most crucial question. However, Taoist, I didn't sense anything unusual from it. Why is that? Lu Yun said, the 3-character bone book has been dormant for 1,000,000 years, its book spirit long gone, so naturally it lacks any supernatural qualities. The loss of the book spirit then. Lin Zaiasu's heart sank. After going through immense difficulties, seizing every opportunity and dying 3 times to obtain the 3-character bone book, could it all be for naught? The book spirit's demise can be remedied in 2 ways. One is to carry this bone book down to the human world and slowly awaken it throughout your long journey. But I believe you can hardly wait, Lu Yun said. Fortunately, there's a second way, using the kindling lamp as a guide. It only takes 49 days. Lu Yun pointed to a solitary lamp in front of them. This lamp was the kindling lamp. 49 days. That's worth the wait. Lin Zaiasu breathed a long sigh of relief. Taoist, please cast the spell. With a gentle lift of his hand, Lu Yun caused the 3-character bone book to float slowly, and the green lamp in his hand also began to rise leisurely. The 3-character bone book was above, the green lamp below, both suspended in midair over the Taoist platform. The lamplight seemed like flowing light, seeping bit by bit into the bone book, which then began to exhibit features distinct from ordinary bones, allowing Lin Zaiasu to truly relax. Lu Yun asked, "How did you obtain the bone book?" Lin Zaiasu replied, "Believe it or not, I saw someone, or to be precise, a familiar corpse with the bone book clutched in its arms." A familiar corpse, Lu Yun frowned. Who? Gujian Yaochen. Lu Yun's previously empty eyes suddenly widened. His expression changed dramatically, and then he took a deep breath. "So that's how it is. That's how it is. I wondered how he knew the bone book was in the heavenly abyss. It turns out he was the one who stole it." Taoist, I'm still confused. I'm certain this person lying in the coffin has been dead for many years. He is definitely not the Gujian Yaochen of the Two Realms Mountain. Have you heard of slaying of the 3 corpses? Lu Yun asked. It made Lin Zaiasu's heart skip a beat. Slaying of the 3 corpses. He had indeed heard of it. No, he had seen related materials. That was in the Qingwan of the Bridge Realm, where Li Feiyang handed him a large pile of materials, claiming it was to pass the time and relieve boredom. In truth, it was because Li Feiyang knew he sought something in the Bridge Realm and helped as much as he could. The collection of materials encompassed many topics. Among them was the account on slaying of the 3 corpses. Slaying of the 3 corpses is a profound concept. Upon reaching the end of the Enlightenment realm in cultivation, one would face the slaying of the 3 corpses. What is slaying of the 3 corpses? Throughout the cultivation path, there are various theories and numerous schools of thought. Some say it's slaying the demon corpse and ghost corpse, leaving only the orthodoxy. Some say it's slaying the past and future, leaving only the present. Others suggest that the 3 in slaying of the 3 corpses is merely an approximate number, not fixed. No matter the school of thought regarding slaying of the 3 corpses, there is consensus that it involves severing the ties in cultivation, cutting distractions, and achieving detachment. Indeed, slaying of the 3 corpses is the symbolic step from the end of enlightenment to breaking into the realm of mastery. Having slain the 3 corpses, one thereby transcends and may gain the favor of the heavenly Tao, permitting them to hold the way. This marks the beginning of the realm of mastery. This is also the true beginning of great power. What is to be said of it here? Lu Yun said, "The corpse you saw is likely one of the 3 corpses Gu Jianchen severed back then. However, his severance was peculiar, as these 3 corpses took his treasures with them, which is truly puzzling. He must have his reasons. I'll ask him when the time comes," Lin Zaiasu said. "Taoist, there is another strange object I wish to inquire about." "Go ahead and tell me," Lu Yun said. Below the heavenly abyss, there was a giant hand, with 6 fingers and a peach blossom eye in its palm, its body concealed within dense fog, seemingly without a physical form. Kang Wu, a divine beast tasked with monitoring the world from the heaven's abyss. Lu Yun appeared moved. Is there truly a Kang Wu beneath the heavenly abyss? Divine beast, Lin Zaiasu said. Is it so divine? Why do I feel that it doesn't seem that extraordinary? Not that extraordinary, you really are bluntly bold. Do you know that if Kang Wu appears, even the heads of the realm of mastery tremble in fear? Lu Yun said. The reason you find it unremarkable is because it's still in an observational state. If you were to assault its eye, you'd trigger its great horror. You didn't touch its eye, did you? Touch its eye? Lin Zaiasu reminisced for a moment. He flew away a flower under Li Ren tears and used that flower to shatter this eye. His hand was 100 meters away from the eye, so it shouldn't count as a touch, right? He took a deep breath and shook his head resolutely. Didn't touch. It's good you didn't touch it. It's good you didn't touch it. If you did, the trouble would be really big. Lu Yun breathed a sigh of relief. Taoist master, what kind of trouble would there be? Just speaking casually. Lu Yun said, in the ancient world there is one abyss and 3 sects, 4 gates and 6 paths. Among them, Kangyuan is the most intimidating hall. It seldom leaves the abyss but knows the events of the world, relying on Kang Wu's observation. Kang Wu walks the world, spies on the world. It is indeed observation and investigation, but it is also a symbol of Kangyuan's transcendent status. If you shatter Kang Wu's eye, it represents declining Kangyuan's observation, which is extreme contempt for Kangyuan's authority. Kangyuan could not tolerate this. If you inadvertently cause such a great disaster, you may not be able to enter the ancient world in the future. Fortunately, you didn't touch it. Lin Zaiasu gently exhaled, publicly staring at the world with such a big eye, yet not allowing others to resist. Kangyuan is truly domineering. This is the cultivation path, where the strong have the right to set rules and the weak can only exist under them. Lu Yun said, over the next 49 days, you might as well consolidate your cultivation here, quietly waiting for the kindling of the 3-character bone book to rekindle. This poor Taoist will venture out once. Venturing out once. Lin Zaiasu's heart was very relieved. There are still 49 days ahead, during which his connection with that world is completely severed. He doesn't know the situation of that world, but he does know the world here is in chaos. He cannot step out of the 3 realms at present. Taoist Lu Yun is willing to venture out once, that's the best. With Taoist master coming out, this junior feels at ease. Lin Zaiasu bowed deeply. Lu Yun gently shook his head. Don't have too much confidence in this poor Taoist. I am not as powerful as you think. Beyond 3 feet away from the kindling lamp, I don't have much combat power, can't even speak freely. Lin Zaiasu's heart stirred. He thought of something. On that day at Liu Lin Temple, he asked Lu Yun several questions, but Lu Yun avoided them. The answer was now clear. On that day, Lu Yun, having left that blue lamp called kindling lamp, couldn't speak freely. Today, he and Lin Zaiasu talked without reservation. Taoist master, who exactly does this blue lamp shield? Lu Yun rolled his eyes aimlessly upwards. He gently shook his head and stepped out of the Taoist temple. His silhouette quickly vanished. As he disappeared, the door of the Taoist temple closed on its own, without any breeze. In the silent Taoist temple, there was no one else but Lin Zaiasu. Just a white bone and a blue lamp. Lin Zaiasu sat cross-legged. The next 49 days are the time for activating the 3-character bone book. Cannot be skipped. What about him? What should he do? Only one thing can be done, and that is to consolidate his own cultivation. Break through the observing heaven, reaching the extreme of observing heaven. Compared to the original Lin Zaiasu, it's already a complete transformation, tenfold better. Now, can he truly contend with the Enlightenment realm? In terms of physical quality, he might still be stronger than the Enlightenment realm. In terms of movement technique speed, he might still be stronger than the Enlightenment realm. However, he seems to lack a real trump card that can truly damage the Enlightenment realm. In Kun Kang, he killed an Enlightenment realm, relying on the subdivine skill. This thing is very tricky. An instant kill requires a lot of preparation, like getting close to the opponent, dispersing the opponent's attention, the most ideal result finally being the enemy's death and Tao dissipation, leaving himself mentally exhausted, dizzy, needing a hug from his senior sister. In real combat, this thing is not very applicable. Encountering more than 2 Enlightenment realms is basically a path to death. The best method, naturally, is Sword Dao. However, the 3 swords of leaving palace facing the Enlightenment realm cannot form a fatal injury. Only the red spider Lily Bloom seems to work against the Enlightenment realm. But this effect only draws a distance between Enlightenment realm and him. Defense is good, but offensive power is weak. Is there no other way? Lin Zaiasu's thoughts raced. The true strength of red spider Lily Bloom is not in the move, but the reincarnation law contained within. Reincarnation law can be integrated into sword moves. Then what about other laws? Lin Zaiasu's heart suddenly jumped. This is a topic he had never considered before, but just thinking about it would make him excited. What is the law he is currently most familiar with? Space law. Space law has already formed a space Tao seed, representing his real initiation. Could it be integrated into a sword move? Time law. Time law is the second most familiar law to him. This used to be purely a detection technique, with time-space reversal used extensively, but can it truly not be integrated into sword moves? Time is closely related to speed. Sword, fast sword, extremely fast sword, aren't they all depictions of time? With this understanding, Lin Zaiasu suddenly drew his sword. Chapter 607, Chapter 606, Where Time Breaks, Mist Rises. Separation Break. Separation Break is the ultimate speed. He had fully showcased the essence of this sword move, integrating all the insights of the Li Palace 3 ancestors, even incorporating modern mechanics. In theory, the speed of this sword had reached its bottleneck, with little room for further improvement. However, Lin Zaiasu infused the profundity of the time law, his mind stepping into the insights of the time law. Gradually, he came to a revelation. 2 hours, 4 hours, 1 day, 2 days. His eyes opened, he drew his sword. This sword silent and soundless. This sword seemed not fast. Yet the kindling lamp flickering before him, for a moment, stopped flickering. Lin Zaiasu's heart gleamed with understanding. This was the mystery of time. This was the mystery of time integrating into the sword move. Speed is relative. When speed reaches the extreme and cannot be increased, slowing the flow of time makes the same speed in the enemy's perception faster. Again and again. Day by day. On an unknown day he struck with a sword. The entire space seemed completely still. The sword cut through the void, leaving a clear sword mark. This sword had already stepped out of the framework of Li Ren's swordsmanship and into a brand new framework. This sword can no longer be called separation break. Straightforwardly, let's call it time break. The next sword shall be the one most familiar with the integration of the space law. Lin Zaiasu performed Li Ren tears in the dark Taoist temple, Misty Rain Jiangnan. He quietly watched the scene before him, where the space law orchestrated profound mysteries in this space. Half a month later, Lin Zaiasu's hand fell. The sword light rose. With a soft boom, where Misty Rain Jiangnan stood was a piece of void. Lin Zaiasu's entire body trembled. This strike at first glance seemed unremarkable, but only he knew how terrifying it was. With this sword strike, within 100-yard radius, everything was split into countless space fragments. Who could withstand such sword Dao? Such sword Dao, yet it still retained the beauty and desolation of Li Ren tears. Lin Zaiasu stared blankly at the bizarre scene before him, sighing softly. If there is a day for Li Ren to return, who will come to Misty Sky and see? This move, let's call it Misty. Infused with the laws of time and space, 2 new sword moves were born, named Time Break, Misty. Lin Zaiasu was in the 3 realms above, oblivious to the world outside his window. And the world clouds rise and fall, never the same again. Cultivators infiltrated the end of Dharma-era Earth, akin to countless superhumans descending simultaneously. The regular police facing them were like eggs against rocks. Within just a few days, all major cities were in chaos. Military and political top brass, television speeches, vehement and impassioned, swore to fight the invaders to the death. The military mobilized. All kinds of modern military equipment went online. However, within just 3 days, collapsed successively. Yuoba State, claimed as the birthplace of modern civilization, was the first to collapse. Nanmo Continent followed closely. All countries closely watched Beimo Continent, where the global military superpower Yingyu country resided. Yingyu country wielded the most formidable modern military. At this moment, they became the global beacon, everyone longing to see Yingyu country demonstrate their value system that had been exported overseas countless times. Alien invasion, Yingyu country's superheroes rescuing the world. Yet the Yingyu country's military was defenseless before cross-realm cultivators. The Pacific Fleet, Marine Corps, and Nation Guard suffered defeat after defeat. When combat losses reached 20%, the soldiers of Yingyu country applied their inaction, surrendering. The world's strongest military not only failed to impede the strange realm invasion, but in just a few days, became accomplices to the invaders. Only then did the global populace finally see the true colors of the old capitalist countries. These were a bunch of paper tigers indeed. Then Yingyu country's 10 major consortia revealed their true business nature. They activated propaganda machines, telling the global population that the ancient wilderness represented a higher-grade race, that the ancient wilderness represented the future direction of Earth, and that Earth should not resist higher civilizations but should welcome their arrival with open arms. to jointly create a moment of global glory. The ordinary people of Yingyu country awakened. They angrily rushed out of their homes, took to the streets to protest, only to find, this time, they were not met by military police, they were met by cultivators from the ancient wilderness. Several giants of the Enlightenment realm soared into the sky. Their enormous figures resembled venerable heavenly immortals, stomping down, turning the people on the street into a bloody pulp. The world fell silent. Only then did people truly realize that the legal system they were familiar with had long been distanced from them. The God they believed in was still elusive. Bamo continent thus fell. With the fall of Bamo continent, global collapse accelerated. Cultivators righteously entered the White Palaces, the ancient Sunset Palace, the Luoba State Council, the highest hall in the Middle East. Only one place was an exception. That place was Daxia. On the third day of the third month of the first year of Apocalypse, only the 3 passages within Daxia country were sealed. This era name, Apocalypse, was also declared by Yingyu country. They told the world that this profound revolution was a revelation from the heavens, a divine intent from above. Only Daxia still retained the sparks of modern civilization within its borders. The 1.4 billion people of Daxia country remained safe. Countless people looked eastward, silently praying that this eastern nation, with the most ancient heritage and countless mysteries, could preserve some semblance of the world's former state in this already fragmented world. Daxia country, situated at the center of a complex and turbulent world, focused the attention of the entire globe. Daxia, all 4 realms are in peril. Yingyu country, leading those Western lapdogs who kowtow at the speed of light, harshly condemns Daxia's counterwave of civilization, with each day's outcry louder than the last. Above the South Sea, countless cultivators cross the sea, with battles more intense each day. However, the military and civilians of Daxia country unite as one, defending the borders to the death. Any who cross the line are shot on sight, life and cost be damned. The current time has reached May of the solar calendar. The storm on the South Sea rages fiercely. The fleet crosses over, striking directly at the South Sea. Daxia's missiles are launched in unison. A round of saturation attacks nearly obliterates the vanguard fleet. However, in the sky above, 1,000-feet Dharma bodies cross the sea to attack. Giants of the Enlightenment realm can evade missiles. Modern hot weapons are almost helpless against him. Li Chushui rises with an arm lift. The giants of the Kun Kang Enlightenment realm ascend straight to the sky, as the battle of enlightenment is initiated over the South Sea. Purely in terms of the strength of Kun Kang's Enlightenment realm, they are really no match for the outsiders' Enlightenment. However, the Kun Kang Enlightenment realm has its trump cards they keep at the bottom of the chest, and they have also honed their tactics combining battle formations to perfection. A batch of Enlightenment realms confronts the enemy, attracting a large number of enemy Enlightenment realms to besiege them. Blood Trace King controls 36 flying cars, quietly encircling from all sides. Once they reach the location, the Heaven and Earth Yin-Yang Chaos Array is activated. Within 100 li radius, the sky and the earth are completely surrounded. As long as they are surrounded by this great array, the cultivation of the Enlightenment realm falls completely, while the Kun Kang Enlightenment realm, armed with the anti-rebel crystal pillar given by Lin Zaiasu, can still maintain under the Heaven and Earth Yin-Yang Chaos Array. Thus, they achieved victory after victory. The highest record was eliminating 40 Enlightenment realms from abroad with 10 Enlightenment realm leads. Above the South Sea, Enlightenment realms fall almost daily. Those intruding into Daxia's territory, whether gods, demons, monsters, or ghosts, dare not cross the Thunder Pool by half a step. The world finally witnesses the military might of Daxia. This is an indestructible, uncrushable, relentless iron army. However, for this reason, countless ancient giants from abroad remain defiant. On May 17, above the South Sea, over 300,000 feet Dharma bodies appear simultaneously. Everyone is dumbfounded. Master this, so many, Ding Rushui's face slightly changes. During this time, she has been following her master closely, and she is also a core member of the Heaven and Earth Yin-Yang Chaos Array. After long warfare, she has seemingly shed her old image as a city heiress, transforming into a white-clad female war god on the blue waves of the South Sea. But today she is still shocked, because she senses that this battle will be exceedingly difficult. Hundreds of Enlightenment realms, even exhausting all stored array crystals, would likely be impossible to defeat completely. If their Enlightenment Realm team is utterly defeated, with subsequent enemy giants following, the South Sea defense line will undoubtedly collapse. Li Chushui takes a deep breath. Ryushui, today you may have to leave. Leave? The world is like this, where can I go? Ding Ryushui says, fight to the end. Ryushui, I once promised you to show you the splendor of the cultivation path, but now it seems this promise is. Ding Ryushui says, Master, I have already seen the splendor of the cultivation path, it's magnificent. With a swish, she steps onto the flying car. With a boom, Li Chushui rises up into the sky. Simultaneously, 30 others rise with her. From their side, 4 giants of the Enlightenment Realm are already dead. This battle is extremely fierce. Kun Kang's 31 giants directly slashed more than half down. The 36 array-based flying cars led by Ding Ryushui executed a dangerously close heaven and earth yin-yang chaos array, killing 30 Enlightenment Realms of the enemy. But during the second formation, 1 flying car was slashed down. The replacement also slashed down. The array couldn't form, and over 30 flying cars all turned into tiny moths in the eyes of the enemy. Boom! A palm strikes the flying car Ding Ryushui is on, breaking her tendons and bones, spitting blood, and she falls into the sea. Before losing consciousness, through the shattered fragments of the flying car, she looks into the distance. Little husband, where in the world have you died? She sinks into the sea. Li Chushui cries out in alarm, taking a step down from the battlefield, reaching out suddenly, retrieving Ding Ryushui. However, with a boom, she receives a heavy blow to her back, spurting blood all over Ding Ryushui. Ding Ryushui suddenly opens her eyes, and at that moment, the master and disciple share a connection of thoughts. Their situation is completely aligned. In the sky above, it's densely packed with Enlightenment Realms, over 100, and more terrifyingly, behind this 100 plus, it's still densely packed. It's over, Li Chushui lets out a long sigh. Suddenly, the sky above lights up brightly. In Ding Ryushui's eyes, the entire world changes appearance. Countless long spears are burning. Burning in the sky. An armless Taoist stands on the eastern sky, pointing a finger. Heaven burn. Boom! A torrent of spears falls. Hundreds of Enlightenment Realms above the sea are simultaneously engulfed by the rain of spears. On the dozens of warships 100 li away, the faces of the densely packed cultivators simultaneously change. Chapter 608, Chapter 607, Mad Taoist's Deathly Dilemma. Heavenly burning spear. An elder's face turned pale. To think Daxia still has someone of this level. Master, what level is this? Asked a disciple beside him. With a single thought, 10,000 spears come into existence from nothing, and with one move, several hundred in the Enlightenment Realm are reduced to ashes. This is the gun world, comparable to the sword world, the elder said. Anyone who reaches the gun world is at the end of the Enlightenment Realm, just one step away from holding the way. Another elder said, at present, this side of the heavenly Tao has not truly aligned with the ancient wilderness, so holding the way cannot emerge under this heavenly Tao. Hence, this person's combat power is the ceiling. With such a guardian in Daxia, we absolutely cannot invade. No matter, we have the peaks of the Enlightenment rules behind us, which should not be below this person. Look. With a whoosh, darkness suddenly enveloped the area behind them. The clear blue sky turned into night in an instant. Over the South Sea, the mad Taoist coldly stared at the darkness sweeping across the sea. At this moment, countless people below felt as if heaven and earth were a rug, and themselves mere ants. Even the giants of the Kun Kang Enlightenment Realm felt the same. An overwhelming pressure came from both sides. Behind was the Daxia sky, clear and boundless. In front was the foreign sky, dark and deep. This was the true battle of 2 giants. Blood Heavenly King, the mad Taoist, has appeared. In the command room, there was actually a hint of excitement on Lin Huayang's face. The Blood Trace King's face was as calm as water. Blood Heavenly King, no need to worry. At present, this heavenly Tao cannot accommodate the state of holding. Below that state, the mad Taoist's strength is unrivaled. With him here, no matter how great the crisis today, it will pass. This was Lin Huayang's vision. However, within the Blood Trace King came a sigh of helplessness. Only he knew the mad Taoist cannot really be relied upon. When Lin Ziasu left, he specifically instructed him. The mad Taoist only has 2 chances to make a move. Just now, to resolve an unprecedented crisis, he already made one move. This time, the move is both an execution and a deterrent. If the opposing camp does not have experts of the same level, indeed, he could use deterrence to stop the fight, exchanging this precious chance to make a move for short-term peace. However, man proposes, but God disposes. The opposing camp happens to have someone of the same level who does not fear him, which is a big problem. In battles of this level, conventional weapons really have no place. How to solve this tricky problem? He must admit he is not Lin Zaiyasu. He cannot solve such problems. His battlefield prowess is only on the ground, not high in the sky. Suddenly, a blade light rose from that desolate island. With a flash of blade light, a figure appeared beside the mad Taoist. It was a tall figure, shouldering a giant blade. The sect master of the Mad Blade sect, Mad Blade. A schadenfreude smile appeared on Mad Blade's face. "Haha, old Taoist thief, show me all your skills, let me see if I'm truly wrong to fall at your hands." A whisper from the Mad Taoist seeped into Mad Blade's ear. "I only have one chance left to make a move. With this strike I will die." Mad Blade's eyes suddenly widened, again with that damned law of cause and effect. "Yes, this is my own cause and effect," the Mad Taoist said. "Do you still want me to show all my skills now?" "No way," Mad Blade shouted. "I'll do it for you." He suddenly raised his blade and sliced, splitting the southern sky in two. Mad Blade was clear-headed at the critical moment. The Mad Taoist, this bastard, put a cause and effect 100 years lock on him. If the Mad Taoist gets hurt, he gets hurt too. If the Mad Taoist dies, he also has to die. At the time of setting this lock, Mad Blade had already changed his sect's protocol. When there was no choice, the sect collectively turned west, going from being the first invaders of Daxia to countering the ancient wilderness invaders. Although he felt frustrated, he did not get too carried away. Only because the cause and effect 100 years lock had the term 100 years. A mere 100 years is like a blink of an eye to people of their level. For now, you have the upper hand, but watch how I settle with you in 100 years. However, a new situation arose now. The Mad Taoist himself also had cause and effect. If he makes one more move, he will die. Things got terribly complicated. Thus, Mad Blade once again pivoted, going from simply carrying his big blade and watching the Mad Taoist's performance to standing firm for himself. He had to act. If he didn't and the Mad Taoist died, he would still have to die. In this instant, Mad Blade internally cursed the Mad Taoist's ancestors into oblivion, yet despite his curses, the fight must go on. Moreover, indications showed that from now on, for any battles that the Mad Taoist needs to fight, he would likely have to step in. Mad Blade is the extreme of the Enlightenment realm. What is the extreme of the Enlightenment realm? Standing at the end of the Enlightenment rules, with no holding the way, I am the heavenly kind. The sharp blade sliced all the way, cutting through the southern vast clouds and revealing an old man entirely cloaked in darkness. The old man swung his hand, enveloping Mad Blade layer upon layer with clouds as if using a rug, while Mad Blade swung his blade, causing streaks of blade light to shine through the clouds, as if the two were in close combat even though they were hundreds of miles apart. As they engaged, the cultivators behind simultaneously crossed the boundary. Mad Blade swung a horizontal slash, emptying several dozen in the Enlightenment realm, yet dark glimmers came from behind, and Mad Blade shouted into the secret realm, "Mad Blade sect out." Whiz! Countless Mad Blade sect cultivators flew out from the once nuclear forbidden zone, headed towards the sky. The remaining dozen or so in the Kun Kang Enlightenment realm breathed a huge sigh of relief. At this moment, the distant horizon suddenly brightened, as if 3 doors opened simultaneously. Once the doors opened, the energy of the Milky Way of 9 heavens poured in. The Mad Taoist's eyes shone brilliantly. Another master of the Enlightenment rules. 3 people at once. Today, I'm afraid we really have to take that step. Mad Blade strikes with one slash, repelling the super giant who practices dark rule and shouts, "Old Taoist, you must not take action." Mad Taoist's eyes are filled with madness. "You alone can't win." Mad Blade strikes again, filling the sky with the light of his blade, his eyes blood-red. "Better to lose alone than for us both to die. Damn Taoist, master, brother, ancestor. I beg you, hold on, hold on." Swoosh, the second figure flies over, and Mad Blade rises into the sky. Boom! The third and fourth figures arrive simultaneously on the fleet. Two pairs of massive feet stomp down. Mad Taoist takes a deep breath. Mad Blade's heart and mind are shattered. Suddenly, Mad Taoist's whole body swells, transforming into 1,000 feet Dharma body, bending over to protect the fleet beneath him. At the last moment he restrained himself, did not strike, but used the Dharma body to shield the fleet below. Boom! Two massive feet land on his back, and Mad Taoist spits out a mouthful of fresh blood, staining the South Sea red. In the fleet below him, the scar on Blood Trace's forehead glows brightly with blood light. His eyes are also filled with blood light. The South Sea defense line has been breached. The calamity that shakes the heavens has finally arrived. Daxia's last hope of civilization could not withstand this disaster. From now on, every inch of mountain and river will be stained with blood. 10 billion suns will become 10 billion soldiers. Blood Trace roars. We will fight to the last drop of blood to ease the burden on our homeland as much as possible. Starting now, no need for orders, kill freely. The missiles of the fleet are launched in unison. Rockets cover the sky behind them. Further back, gigantic warplanes sweep across the heavens, countless drones pour down, and even further back, countless warriors stand tall. 100 enemy warships are reduced to ashes. 100 enemy warplanes, smoking, crash into the South Sea. However, a large number of cultivators are still stepping over the sea. Those who can cross the sea are all at least observing heaven level, or possess superpowers. And beneath the sea, there's an even larger number of cultivators. In the sky, more and more of the Enlightenment realm appear. The warships expend all their close defense ammunition, and finally face the most brutal melee. Warriors leap into the air to meet the foreign masters. Their skills pale in comparison to these master cultivators, but as soon as they get close, they detonate the high-explosive bombs on themselves, making the battle extremely fierce. The more the foreign cultivators fight, the more frightened they become. Why do all these people fight to the death? Blood Trace walks on the sea, transforming into 9 shadows, killing 13 people in succession, until finally, he's struck down into the sea by a palm from above. The sky has descended into complete chaos as well. Yin Jiyu moves, putting on a Taoist robe once donned. His entire demeanor changes. 9 Yin Jias appear on the battlefield at once, each with a different expression, some sorrowful, some joyful, some angry, some kind. The only commonality is that they all strike skillfully. With one move, he kills 9 in the Enlightenment realm. This miraculous skill causes Li Chushui's eyes to shine. Master Yin, is this the Taoist corpse borrowing technique? Swish! A Yin Ji who suddenly appears in front of her, reaches out and grabs Li Chushui's throat. Li Chushui is startled. Master Yin, it's me. Yin Jiu grins. Ah, it's you. I thought it was that Lin kid. If it's you, never mind. He waves her 100 feet away. Her mind is in chaos. Yin Jiu has gone mad with this Taoist corpse robe. But then, who hasn't? The defense line has effectively been breached. No matter how tenacious the battle on the surface is, it doesn't change a fundamental fact. The real masters have long crossed the border. And the continuous influx of invaders will continue. Maybe Blood Trace is right. From now on, every inch of mountain and river will be stained with blood. 10 billion suns will become 10 billion soldiers. Daxia country has never allowed foreign invasions. Even if the enemy enters the territory, to advance even 1 foot, they must pay with their lives. The first to be affected is Island 101. This island is the Qianlong base, located in the South Sea. Night falls. Suddenly, an alarm resounds throughout the island. Xinyu, sitting in the alert room, springs up, and when she looks up, she sees countless missiles shooting from the island, streaking across the sky. Rumble! The sky lights up. Above the sky, warplanes dive down. One after another, they are blown up by anti-aircraft missiles. At first, Xinyu didn't take it too seriously, because in modern warfare, Daxia fears no one. However, suddenly, a massive submarine emerges from the sea. On the submarine, countless dark figures approach the sea. The sky attack was just a feint. The real attack comes from the cultivators aboard the submarine. Once these cultivators get within range of modern advanced weapons, they have every advantage. Xinyu steps forward, her figure suddenly blurs. At the instant, the 101 close defense alert sounds. Her blade has already killed an observing heaven. She herself is not as strong as observing heaven, but with her invisibility technique and modern close combat methods, she managed to kill one in the first moment. However, this was only catching the opponent off guard. Soon, another observing heaven targets her. A sword comes from the west, and she fails to use instantaneous movement in time. Her left arm is cut with a long gash. Xinyu is driven mad in the first instant. Chapter 609, Chapter 608, Chang Yi slays Xinyu. The garrison on the island was even crazier than her. The defenders knew full well that conventional methods would be utterly ineffective against such an enemy, so at least dozens adopted the human bomb mode without a second thought. Leaping up, they dove straight into the enemy ranks, determined to detonate the bombs on their bodies even if their limbs were severed. This fighting method shocked the ancient cultivators, scattering them with a loud roar. As a result, even if the warriors were determined to go down with their enemy, it was hard to find an effective breakthrough. However, this also gave Xinyu an opportunity. The shadows parted, and with Xinyu's instant teleportation and invisibility technique, she was especially agile, killing 3 people in a matter of moments. Suddenly, her heart trembled violently. 2 cultivators kicked open the laboratory above. It was a laboratory that Qianlong valued exceptionally highly, because inside lay a special person. Chang Yi. Chang Yi's uniqueness had 2 points. First, she willingly became the ultimate poison test subject. Second, she was Lin Xiaosu's lover. As important as Lin Xiaosu was, she was equally important. Therefore, this laboratory was personally guarded by Xinyu, a Qianlong gold medal holder. Xinyu, who so loved excitement, didn't attend the 3 battlefronts that simultaneously opened on the 3rd of March because she had to guard Chang Yi. Tonight, Chang Yi was in trouble. Swish! Xinyu suddenly appeared in the laboratory, behind the 2 cultivators. With a slash, one of the cultivators' long sword fell to the ground. However, the wind rose from behind. The pressure was as heavy as a mountain. Xinyu's body flickered as she prepared to activate instant teleportation. A palm flew at her, covering her entire space. Boom! Xinyu was sent flying far away. Her internal organs seemed to have shifted instantaneously. In terms of real combat power, she couldn't compare to a peeping heaven master at all, and today's ambush was all due to her instant teleportation and invisibility technique. Now being hit by a palm. In the corner of her eye, she saw the laboratory door being slashed open. On the experimental platform, someone lay quietly. Chang Yi. Chang Yi had been lying here for several months. Her body was in a very strange condition. All her indicators were normal, but she just wouldn't wake up. The dim light cast a mysterious beauty on Chang Yi, making her like a flower quietly blooming in the laboratory. This quietness infused with a mysterious beauty made the 2 cultivators' eyes light up simultaneously. One on the left licked his lips. What a little beauty. Indeed, women of Daxia country have a charm that those from Western countries lack, said the other. Junior brother, go guard the door outside. Senior brother, are you going to take her here? Haha, it's just a mere base, full of ordinary people from the end of Dharma era. What waves could they possibly stir? I'll enjoy myself a bit, it won't delay anything. Suddenly his voice stopped, because Chang Yi on the experimental table suddenly opened her eyes. Awake, good that you're awake. The senior brother extended a hand, reaching for Chang Yi's chest. Chang Yi's eyes suddenly changed. This change was like an ancient deep pool. Careful, senior brother, this girl doesn't seem simple. Chang Yi frowned, and all the wires connected to her body broke simultaneously. Chang Yi abruptly sat up. As she sat up, her hair swayed. Swish! 2 strands of hair accurately hit the 2 cultivators' brows. The 2 cultivators' eyes widened suddenly, and their bodies went limp, as if instantly drained of bones, and they collapsed softly. Swish! The wind rose. Xinyu finally rushed back. Upon returning, her murderous intent seeped down to her hair tips, yet upon entering the laboratory, she was stunned. The 2 cultivators lay on the ground, and Chang Yi had sat up. Sister Chang Yi, it's great that you've woken up. The desolate ancient realm has invaded the island. Suddenly, there was no one in front of her. Xinyu spun around suddenly, stepping outside. By the cliff's edge outside, Chang Yi's long hair flowed as she gazed across the whole island, different from the Chang Yi of past days. She seemed to have returned to time before she met Lin Xiaosu. She was the generation's poison king that overseas enemies feared. Chang Yi suddenly extended her hand, reaching into the dark night sky. From her fingertips shot 10 strands of black aura. The 10 strands of black aura, like serpents, initially thin as silk, melded into the air, covering the sky and earth. Xinyu's eyes widened, watching her girlfriend in surprise. The cultivators on the island suddenly looked up. At the instant they looked up, the stars in the sky lost their color collectively. The whole world seemed to be locked down by a huge black pot. "Enlightenment realm," a cultivator shouted. "It's not enlightenment realm, it's poison," said another. "Scared me, it's just some lowly poison, then it's nothing, disperse it." A peeping heaven-level cultivator spread his large sleeve, with strong true chi rolling towards the sky above. This sweep was enough to disperse any airflow, but today must have been haunted. The mist above suddenly, like a spirit serpent, struck down fiercely. Swish! 2 cultivators were enveloped. The 2 cultivators' eyes widened suddenly, as if they were roosters being choked at the throat. Their faces slowly distorted, their bodies also transforming. Poof! The 2 collapsed softly at the same time, like 2 water-filled leather bags. The same scene occurred all over the island. The toxic mist shrouding the sky is unyielding, as agile as a spirit snake. It does not harm the islanders, targeting only the cultivators. Blades touch it and they melt. People touch it and their bodies collapse softly, bones dissolving completely. The bizarreness of this poison is hair-raising. Anything hard melts away, but the flesh and tissue remain unharmed. What does this signify? It signifies that those poisoned won't die instantly, but will live out their lives in extreme agony. Before death, they can't even cry out, for they have no bones left in their bodies, unable to open their mouths. Xinyu watched as all the island's cultivators were engulfed by the mist, each losing their bones under the hands of her bosom friend. Though she feared nothing usually, at this moment, she was filled with terror. This skill defies the heavens. Chang Yi has evolved again. Moreover, the extent of evolution is unprecedented. Never mind the poison, just the ability to control it even at such a distance is astonishing. Even an observing heaven realm master's true chi release cannot reach so far, right? Could this be a method of the enlightenment realm? Suddenly, above the sky, 2,000 feet Dharma bodies appeared out of nowhere. A palm pressed down, like a stone shattering the heavens. "Enlightenment realm," Xinyu exclaimed. Chang Yi suddenly raised her head, and the mist whirled up to meet the palm. As the palm descended, it initially resembled a real human hand. However, once covered by the mist, the true essence giant palm melted like ice meeting boiling water. Bone transformation poison affecting true essence, bone transformation poison. An enlightenment realm voice exclaimed in the air, "You are from the Wandu sect." Another enlightenment realm person said, "We also acknowledge the Wandu sect as our master. Since you belong to the sect, we should walk the same path. Why do you block our way?" "Scram," Chang Yi coldly reprimanded. Both enlightenment realm figures, expressions changed simultaneously. Such a junior with no sense of right and wrong, kill her. Whiz! A giant umbrella pierced through the space, shooting into the rolling mist. Even the bone transformation poison, which melts hard objects, couldn't harm this umbrella in the slightest. This umbrella was evidently a kind of magic artifact from the desolate ancient realm. With a boom, the umbrella opened. As it opened, an overwhelmingly powerful force was unleashed. The circle of mist created by Chang Yi was forcibly split open. In the opening, a sword like a heavenly sword emerged, slashing towards Chang Yi. Chang Yi's expression changed. She may have powerful superpowers, but her physical combat power cannot compete with the enlightenment realm. Seeing that Chang Yi faced a life-threatening crisis within an hour of awakening, suddenly, the sky subtly trembled, and a peculiar heavenly window appeared. An elegant female voice came from the heavenly window. "A flesh body giving birth to bone transformation poison, a natural poison body, interesting." As the voice resonated, time and space seemed to completely stand still. Chang Yi's hair floated to the top of her head and stopped moving. The poison mist surrounding the giant umbrella stood still. The true essence giant sword looming in the void paused 3 feet from Chang Yi's forehead. The 2 enlightenment realm figures' expressions drastically changed, and the one on the left spoke. An otherworldly window opened, state of holding. The one on the right knelt with a crash, "Greetings, sect leader." The one on the left, his face changing color, also knelt in the air, "Greetings, sect leader." "Who are you?" the elegant female voice from the heavenly window asked. I'm an elder from Zhuo Valley, in the 9 valleys of Yin Cloud. The valley master even went a Kishin before to be privileged enough to meet the sect leader. This outing is in compliance with the 4th elder under the sect leader's order. Conquering Daxia to seize the Kunlun ancient hall is indeed an order from me, said the sect leader in the heavenly window. However, this girl's situation is unique. Hold your hands for now. Let me ask her a question before making a decision. Yes. The true essence longsword dissipated into smoke and vanished. Chang Yi's hair finally floated again. Above the sky, across a vast starry river. In the depths of the starry river, within the heavenly window, a voice came through. Girl, would you like to join my Wandu sect? Xinyu sprang up. A Qianlong warrior would never betray, get lost. In the heavenly window, a cold snort was heard. Girl, this woman dared to insult me, she courts death. If you are willing to join me, kill her to prove yourself. Chang Yi's gaze slowly lifted, fixing on Xinyu, her eyes cold and cruel. Xinyu saw her gaze and her face gradually changed. Sister Chang Yi, you. Who is your sister? From this nirvana I have long forgotten everything. Her voice was infinitely cold. You. With a swish, a hand suddenly appeared at Xinyu's throat. Xinyu's eyes widened, utterly in disbelief. This was her best friend. This was her closest sister in Qianlong. This was the sister who would leave her a letter even knowing her own death was near. Yet today she grasped her throat, with cold murder filling her eyes. Is this nirvana? She has undergone nirvana and forgotten everything in this world. She doesn't remember the Qianlong mission. She doesn't remember the sisterhood. She doesn't even remember that there's a Lin Zaiasu. The poison in her bones has made her heart poisonous. Chang Yi, come back, a middle-aged man shouted from the hillside ahead. Boom! A finger descended from the void, and Qianlong 6, the person in charge of Island 101, was reduced to a pool of flesh. Killed before Chang Yi. Chang Yi didn't even blink. Her hand abruptly squeezed. Crack! Xinyu's neck was snapped, and her body went limp. Chapter 610, Chapter 609, Lin Zaiasu descends to the 3 realms. Above the heavenly window, that elegant voice chuckled lightly. Not bad, decisive in killing, just the disciple I desire. As the voice fell, a black lotus flower floated down from the heavenly window. It floated above Chang Yi's head. Chang Yi soared through the air with the black lotus. Xinyu flew with her halfway. Chang Yi loosened his grip. Xinyu's corpse fell through the air, crashing down the cliff. On Island 101, countless people watched her break through that heavenly window with wide eyes. Countless people clenched their teeth tightly, blood oozing out. This island, let it be flattened, muttered a person in the Enlightenment realm. Boom! A pair of giant feet landed on the island. Island 101 disintegrated. On the same day, southern border, at the Gongchen Mountain outpost, Lin Zioing roared, throwing the emptied rocket launcher into the valley ahead. In the valley, dozens of figures leapt skyward. Captain, in another life be brothers again. Zhaijun jumped down. With a swoosh, a sword flew and pierced his chest. Zhaijun laughed heartily. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion erupted with him at the center. 3 experts were blown into a mist of blood. Captain, remember my admonition, Zhuwei leapt up. Lin Zioing's eyes turned blood red. What was Zhuwei's admonition? It was the common wish of 9 former comrades at the Gongchen Mountain outpost. They shared a common admonition for those who survived. If I die in battle in the future, don't burn paper money for me, don't offer me wine. Just write the achievements of our brother Little Sue on paper and burn it for me. This is called victory report becomes paper money. 1, 2, 3. The comrades walked this path one by one. Finally, the Gongchen Mountain outpost was empty. Only he remained. What about him? On the 4th day of the 3rd month, he had sent a message to his fiancée. Battle is coming. I can't keep my promise for our wedding. After the war, if I survive and you haven't married, I'll marry you. And now, there's no war aftermath to look forward to, only the present. In the land of Daxia, the enemies have broken through from the north, west, and south. This outpost is no longer the last barrier against enemy invasion, but for soldiers, it's the final stronghold in their hearts. Even if it can't stop the enemy outside the national border, killing one more enemy can lessen the pressure for compatriots back home. 5 cultivators had already ascended the outpost, standing before him, Lin Xiaoying smiled. This smile is of letting go. This smile is his relief, heading towards the Nei bridge. Then he charged toward the enemies ahead, welcoming the knives and swords thrust at him. This sword, on a normal day he might block, but today he does. The long sword pierced his waist, and Lin Xiaoying's high explosive device on his waist was suddenly pressed down. At that moment, a figure flashing with electricity appeared before him. As the figure appeared, the explosive device on Lin Xiaoying's waist suddenly flew out. Boom! 3 cultivators were blasted into a mess of flesh and blood. But Lin Xiaoying, originally in the center of the explosion, was shielded by the sudden expansion of that electrically charged figure, forcibly blocking the shockwave. Her figure advanced 2 steps, and Lin Xiaoying was stunned. Blue Demon. He didn't really know Qianlong King, but had some contact recently, thanks to the ongoing war. In analyzing the southern border's war situation, he'd seen Blue Demon's photo at the Nanjiangkonk Valley. Who would have thought that this Heavenly King-level character, the soul of the southern border defense line, would leave Konk Valley and come to the Gongchen Mountain outpost? In a critical moment, she killed the crossing enemies, saving Lin Xiaoying from death. The remaining 2 cultivators didn't recognize any Heavenly King. They drew their swords. As the sword left, Blue Demon locked her gaze. The sword was still 3 feet away from her huge body when she raised her hands. Boom! The heads of the 2 cultivators exploded. This wasn't Blue Demon's usual attack method. Because she had changed. Her body could reach 10 meters, and with expansion her strength was immense. 1 punch down, simple and efficient. Even those observing heaven could not withstand even 1 punch from her. Even in the Enlightenment realm, in the domain created by the snow turtle, she could still take 1 punch per person. After killing 2 cultivator experts, Blue Demon's huge figure slightly inclined, facing Lin Xiaoying. Lin Xiaoying, you cannot die yet. No, I can die. If my comrades can die, why can't I? Lin Xiaoying's gaze swept around, seeing former comrades. Now not even a piece of complete body tissue could be found, and for a moment he was overwhelmed with grief. Your brother has gone to a place of hope. I don't want him to lose his family when he brings hope to the world, Blue Demon said. So, no matter how difficult it is, before he returns, you must live for me. This is a military order I, Blue Demon, issue to you. Outside, the wind rises and clouds roll. Within the 3 realms Taoist temple, a single lamp burns like a bean. This lamp, the kindling lamp of the human clan. Above the lamp, the 3-character bone book human volume. Slowly, the 3-character bone book changed color. The ashen bone gradually retained the residual color of blood, becoming fresher. Finally, a drop of blood seeped from the bone, drip. Lin Xiaosu, under the lamp, stretched out his finger, and this drop of blood fell on his fingertip. Suddenly, a kind of mystical insight filled his mind. This was the insight into the first section, spirit, of the 3-character bone book. He extended his hand sharply, and the 3-character bone book on the lamp fell into his hand. The femur and tibia entered the secret realm space, only the bone shaped like a foot grasped in his hand. He took a step out of the Taoist temple. Within the Taoist temple, silence reigned. Lin Xiaosu stepped down from the 3 realms. Beneath his feet were the Kunlun Mountains. The mountain peak is still blanketed with white snow. The wind blowing down from the summit is bone-chillingly cold. Suddenly, his heart trembled fiercely, because he saw a figure in the Enlightenment realm sweeping across the sky. All the Kun-Kang Enlightenment realms are currently in the South Sea, southern border and Tashan. They should definitely not appear beneath Kunlun Mountain. He knew most of the Kun-Kang Enlightenment realm figures, and he had never seen the person who just swept past. Has the line of defense fallen? Has the Enlightenment realm broken through? If this is true, cold sweat instantly drenched his back. With a swoosh, Lin Xiaosu crossed the air, leaping across the valley ahead, a pastoral zone where herders congregate under the blue sky and white clouds, on the magnificent prairie, where the sight of the snowy sheep, leisurely swinging their whips, once was the dream scene for many, but now it's a nightmare. Dozens of corpses lay scattered haphazardly in the grass. In the grass, there was a herder girl, her clothes entirely gone, lying face up on the grass, her eyes never closed even in death, and her hollow, terrified, and utterly hopeless gaze declared that she had met something she never expected before she died. Fury surged in Lin Xiaosu's heart to the sky, and his speed suddenly increased, flying along the path where the Enlightenment realm had just passed. The horrors below became increasingly shocking. The beautiful prairie with the wind still blowing, the grass still existing, and the natural beauty still present, but with ubiquitous human tragedy, it has already become hell-like. Ahead lies Huixian town. On the road, vehicles were sliced in two by sharp blades. A miserable scream had just come from the town. The Wuxiang temple had long lost its former tranquility. In front of the temple, dozens of monks' corpses dyed the Buddhist sanctuary into a Shura arena. Dozens of cultivators stood in the temple, chatting and laughing. In the innermost Zen room, Xiang Yixu sat in the courtyard, sipping tea. The tea didn't ripple, his hand didn't shake, but his glasses were already shrouded in mist. This was the mist of tea. Behind him, the female graduate student Zioya's face was deathly pale, tightly gripping the back of Xiang Yixu's chair, barely able to stand. "Have you thought it through?" The cultivator in front of Xiang Yixu said. "Activate the array immediately and open this gateway, or your hands and feet will be broken, your tendons pulled from your entire body, and your woman will be raped to death right under your eyes." The person spoke arrogantly, with his eyes fixed on the heavens. Because he was at the pinnacle of observing heaven, in this end of Dharma era, he was almost a sovereign whose words could shape reality. Xiang Yixu slowly lifted his head, gently pushing his glasses. "I've thought it through." "Then what do you choose?" Xiang Yixu slowly stood up, showing a typical professor's smile, extending his hand lightly. "I am a gentle person, and gentle people have their own ways, such as adapting to situations, conforming to heaven's will. It's the choice of the wise. Let's shake hands and make a deal." The cultivator started to smile slowly, not bad. He reached out and gently shook hands with Xiang Yixu. Suddenly, Xiang Yixu's hand shook violently. His 5 fingers turned into a daconquan. Poof! The cultivator's arm instantly turned into a blood mist, and within the blood mist, 3 white bones pierced into the cultivator's dantian. The cultivator's face changed drastically. His hand lifted suddenly, but his dantian was already destroyed, and his cultivation was entirely wasted. Whoosh! Xiang Yixu's left hand stretched out, grabbing the cultivator's neck. With a forceful grip, the cultivator knelt down in front of him with a thud. Xiang Yixu chuckled lightly. "Since entering the Wuxiang temple only this posture is correct, don't be too arrogant before the Daxia people. Daxia's citizens, no one will fall for your tricks. Understand?" The 7 or 8 cultivators around were all stunned. Who would have thought that this suave professor dared to pull such a move? One moment of carelessness, the leading cultivator actually knelt in front of him. With just this kneeling, their entire team, even if they killed everyone within 10 miles, couldn't wash away this extraordinary shame and humiliation. Whoosh! A palm flew towards him. Xiang Yixu lifted his left hand. A direct hit. Bang! Xiang Yixu was sent flying, crashing into the stone wall behind. Blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. Zioya screamed and rushed over, holding him. Xiang Yixu smiled wryly. "Seems I've spent too much energy on your belly, neglecting my cultivation." Zioya's heart surged with complex emotions. This flirtatious professor, even in death, retained his charm. Swoosh! The sword light rose. At least 3 beams of sword light simultaneously swept forward. Xiang Yixu held Zioya tightly. "Don't be afraid, it won't hurt. It's about the same as when I first broke through with you." Now Zioya was truly baffled. Just as the sword light was about to reach Xiang Yixu's throat, suddenly, all the sword light vanished. Xiang Yixu's eyes suddenly widened. He saw a figure. A familiar figure. Lin Ziasu. In front of him, the expressions on the faces of the 3 cultivators were extremely strange. Whoosh! 3 heads detached from their original positions, slowly slipping down. The 3 expert cultivators slowly fell. "Little Su," Xiang Yixu shouted. His voice was so excited. Zioya in his embrace turned suddenly, trembling all over. "Professor Xiang, how's the injury?" "Can't die, but—" With a loud bang, akin to a 1,000-pound boulder crashing into the courtyard outside, Xiang Yixu's face changed again. A master had arrived, one they absolutely could not resist at their level.